They go together like peanut butter and bananas.
Oh, banana.
Legs and feet. A debilitating existential crisis.
Diminished sense of reality, huh?
And reruns of The Office at 3 a.m.
Depression? Isn't that just a fancy word for feeling bummed out?
It's the Bit Harmony Boys, bringing you even more video game music than you can shake a Deku stick at. Right now.
You're listening to Bit Harmony, a video game music podcast. We are back. We're not dead anymore. We were dead. And I'm Matt.
I'm Seth. Yeah, we've been resurrected from the dead.
It'd be great if I could just die for like a few years and come back.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. I think, you know what, Matt? I would do it for 4 years and I would come back.
It's like that episode of South Park where Cartman froze himself to get a Wii earlier because he didn't want to wait 2 months.
The Okama Game Sphere or whatever.
No, I think it was specific. It was outright a Wii.
Was it the Wii? Yeah,
it was
multiple.
straight up. It was straight up the Wii, and it was like a 3-part saga. Yeah, I want to do that, but like until my enemies are dead. That's kind of what I want, kind of thing.
I'll outlive you all.
Yeah. And maybe the Switch 2 will actually be out by then. Who knows? Today on Bit Harmony, we're talking about nothing. We specifically wanted there to not be a topic today, or a specific episode encompassing topic. So we're not talking about a specific game. This is going to be a voicemail-centric episode, going to be a Nintendo music emphasized episode since there's so much to catch up on. But yeah, we just thought we'd do a lighter one of these and while we get back into the swing of things. Your intro this week from Pokemon Snap, it is The Hut by the River. And Pokemon Snap was composed by Ikuru Mimori, and we will be back. And that was The Hut by the River from Pokemon Snap. Again, there was really no real specific reason for this song. You and I talked about it a little bit when we were deciding what to even do. That's the problem with a non-specific episode. Is like, what the hell do you even open up with?
So then what is it? Yeah.
And I was originally thinking there was this, it was a pretty good note block remix of the Viridian Forest from Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal that I was thinking of. But then we have a lot of Pokemon stuff in the voicemail, so I'm just like, nah, it's fine. But then we ended up going Pokemon anyway with Pokemon Snap. Kind of my logic was, Monkey Target 2 was our opener of the entire show. And to me, this song kind of has like a similar, not exactly like energy. Like Monkey Target 2 is much more like, kind of upbeat and like sporty a little bit, game showy a little bit.
Sure.
But I don't know, to me, this song, there's like some kind of DNA deep down in there. Maybe the DNA is just that I liked both of these games when I was a kid. I don't know. But yeah, I wanted there to be a mission statement for like this second season, as it were, of Bit Harmony, and I was just browsing through my video game music playlist, and this just kind of stuck out to me as something we could do.
Yeah. Well, no, I think you're onto something there. I think that the shared DNA. By the way, my cat is playing in the background, so special guest Goblin the cat. If anybody can hear his bell going off, I'm sorry if that bleeds through. It's fine. He's got his toy and he's very happy back here right now. But yeah, the shared DNA for me between that and Monkey Target is like this sense of, I don't know, I don't want to say adventure, but like, I guess like excitement to almost like uncover like a mystery or something, like a sort of whimsy, like a sort of just like, I don't know, there's something about both of those songs that's kind of like, we're about to go on this kind of journey and I'm so excited to see like what we're going to find when we go there or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and then this one is like a slightly more chilled out than Monkey Target, even though it has a similar vibe, which is what I'm hoping for. You know, my favorite thing when like TV shows come back for a new season is when it's like there's a clear passage of time, like Mad Men. Like, well, I guess in Mad Men it's an unclear passage of time whenever they come back, or Community, where it's like, you know, the school semester is the season, and then the summer break is the break between seasons. I think my all-time favorite, maybe my favorite line from a TV show of all time is from the season premiere of season 3 of Community, where their budget was slashed and they were saying like they'd gotten criticisms from viewers that the show was too goofy, it was too nonsensical. And there's a monkey that is roaming the air ducts of the school, and they need to figure out a way to get rid of the monkey in the air ducts. And then he asked the security guard what they could do to get rid of the monkey. And he goes, I don't know, some kind of monkey knockout gas. And then the dean says, monkey knockout gas. Now that's the kind of grounded, sensible thinking I want to see this year. That's exactly what this is. That's what Bit Harmony season 2 is. Monkey knockout gas. We're just grounded and sensible, and no more 4-hour episodes for me to edit. That's the
That's a good plan. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good call. I like that. I like that analogy.
I mean, I'll say we're still going to do some 4-hour episodes, I'm sure. I just don't want it to be as frequent as we were
Probably
getting.
Inevitable. Yeah.
Probably like the next episode, we gotta.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, and I've said this before, we've never endeavored to make a 4-hour episode. It just kind of happens. But I do think that we could make a conscious effort to, what's the way I would phrase this? To not so readily facilitate their manifestation.
Dude, the problem is, I think of the Donkey Kong Country 2 episode specifically, which, like, I didn't think we'd have that much to talk about. So then I'm like, well, we'll give a brief summation of Donkey Kong Country 1, because we should be able to zip. It's just a platformer. It shouldn't be a problem. And then that episode ended up being, at the time, I think the longest episode, but then it was immediately beaten next week by World of Warcraft. So it's hard to like directly translate the length of your notes to the length of an episode. I guess, to be fair, that was also when we talked for season 7 of The Circle for about half an hour or so.
That's true.
We got plans. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about plans for Bit Harmony and the 4-hour dilemma as we get further into the episode. But when it comes to the Hut by the River, yeah, I don't have much more to say about it than we already said. Pokemon Snap just rocks, both the original and the new one on Switch. This episode just kind of ended up being very Nintendo oriented, so that was also like the final reason we went with this song.
Sure.
I just love the tone of the song. Even the name, The Hut by the River, is just
Pretty
super
good.
evocative and very sounds like the name of like a Hardy Boys book or something.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, it goes back to that mystery thing, right? And you know what? Like, it was making me think, like, I love this song, and I've always loved this song, and I've always loved Pokemon Snap. And when new Pokemon Snap came out, I loved it too. And my kind of like, I guess, reaction to it was, oh, like this is just a bigger and better and more in-depth Pokemon Snap. But do you feel like, I mean, I guess I do kind of feel like in retrospect, and I think listening to this song made me really kind of solidify these thoughts a little bit more. New Pokemon Snap is kind of missing a little bit of that sense of like mystery that the first game had. Like the first game felt so cool and mysterious, and I don't know if it's because like you're playing that game as a kid, and you know, but it felt like the world just had so much to like uncover. And new Pokemon Snap to me felt a little bit more, it felt less like that and more about, you know, oh, like it felt more like a true like safari experience of, oh, like I can't wait to like see the little Pokemon interactions. Like, despite the fact that the original game was on rails and whatever, and you were ostensibly doing the same thing, I don't know, like it felt like archaeological or something in a way. And the hut by the river is like when you're coming into like the end game and you're trying to unlock like the secret like final level with Mew and everything, and Professor Oak is like asking you to take pictures not of Pokemon but of like mysterious Pokemon shaped landmarks like that he's discovered through the world. And he's not like in his lab coat anymore, he's in his little hut by the river, and he's like in like some, you know, explorer gear or whatever. And I don't know, like there was something about like even seeing Professor Oak out of his element that like, I don't know, that it just felt very cool and like mysterious at the time. And I don't know if new Pokemon Snap quite captures that.
Yeah, I'm with you. And, you know, I haven't played new Pokemon Snap since it came out. So it's been, what, nearly 4 years now?
Yeah, same.
That's crazy also. Yeah, my feeling was Pokemon Snap as like a video game was definitely better in like just about every capacity you could imagine. But that, yeah, it lacked that certain sense of like abstract mystery. But then again, yeah, how much of that is just because I played the original when I was like 9 or whatever. I do think there's something to that beyond just the being 9 years old factor.
Yeah,
but yeah, I would have to replay both of them like back to back to really nail down how I feel. Also,
I kind of want to though. Like,
it
after
sounds
hearing
fun.
This,
yeah, it sounds fun. There also is just something, the world felt more how do I say this? The world in the original Pokemon Snap felt more alive with Pokemon. Whereas, like, there's just more human characters in new Pokemon Snap in general, and also it feels more like a roller coaster to me, where like, hey, now you're going underwater and stuff. I mean, you know, there's a little bit of that in the original. Like, yeah, you go into outer space to get pictures of Mew and whatever, but yeah, there is something missing, but that's not really a knock for me, at least, against new Pokemon Snap. It's just, I don't know if anyone could ever capture that feeling again of the original. And make no mistake, like, I'm sure if someone were to try and play the original Pokemon Snap now for the first time, and when they got done in like 80 minutes, they'd be kind of like, well, what am I doing?
Right.
But hey, back in like 2000, if you were around playing it back then, it was pretty exciting. That was like, I don't know, it was so exciting to see Pokemon in like their actual environments in 3D at the time. That was the first time you ever really saw that. And not to mention all the Blockbuster printing your pictures off on the sticker machine at Blockbuster.
Felt real. It felt like it was a part of like your real world or something. It was really cool. And it's, I don't know, it felt like immersive in a strange way, especially for, I imagine that kids playing N64 did not play a ton of first person games beyond, you know, GoldenEye or whatever. So even just that kind of makes you feel like you're in the Pokemon world a bit. I don't know. That game was real cool. Yeah, the only note that I have about the actual song is shout out to that little hand drum, like doo, that little sound. Shout out to that. That's the only note I have about the song itself.
Yeah, I like that. I like the rattly noise that they got going here and there. But yeah, it's such a simple song. There wasn't much to really note with the actual song. With that said, let's move on into general housekeeping. I don't know how much stuff we have. It looks like you got one note about reviews here.
Yeah, we did. Since the break, we have had 2 new ratings on Spotify since the last episode. So thanks to whoever left those. We had some people. It was nice. Like over the break, I noticed that a lot of the older episodes, kind of people, actually were going back to the backlog, which was the intention really of taking the break anyway. And I think before the break, we only had like 2 episodes that had over 100 downloads, and now I think there's like 5 or 6.
Okay.
So yeah, so there are people who actually are like going back and listening and leaving new reviews and discovering the show. We've picked up some new followers since the last episode. So yeah, thanks to everybody who like discovered the show over the holiday break and who are supporting it with reviews and stuff. We really appreciate that. If you do like the show, like that's a very free and easy way to support the show. Leave the 5-star review, and it helps us have more visibility and discoverability so more people can find us. So we appreciate you guys for doing that. But yeah, that was pretty much it. No new comments or anything, no written reviews. If you listen on Spotify, you can comment on the episode, and we love those too. We'll read them off on the show if you leave comments. So yeah, just thanks for the love over the break.
Yeah, I would love to know like what people were listening to, like if they were re-listening some of them to older episodes, or if they were just going back to listen to stuff they hadn't. I would love to know what, we talked about it on the last episode, what our favorite episodes of Bit Harmony were. I would love to know what other people's favorite episodes are. I'm sure it's mostly going to be Kirby Canvas Curse with all the gross food talk going on. We do not have any gross food talk today. Maybe something will come up naturally on accident.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. Yeah. We will do our normal post-mortem on the best soundtracks of 2024 episode. That said, we have a whole section. We're going to talk about like snubs and updates on games that we talked about on the episode that we've played more over the break. But as an actual episode, we're going to talk about that now and save the snub portion for later.
Sure.
Real quick note, we only took 1 episode off. So, we're at every other week show. So it's been about a month, a little over a month since we actually recorded the last episode, I think. The world has changed a lot, Seth.
in just a month. It's kind of wild. Yeah. It's funny, too, because you have like a list here of all this. I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah. There's been a lot that's happened.
I mean, yeah, for a video game show, the most obvious big thing is the Switch 2 was finally officially revealed. That was like a week ago or something.
Yeah,
people seem mad and disappointed. I just want to see games. That's all I really care about at this point. David Lynch passed away just a few days ago.
Yeah.
I know that hit you pretty hard specifically.
Yeah, it's funny. Celebrity deaths normally kind of wash over me. Like, like I see that a celebrity that I like dies or whatever, and like it's sad. I'm like, oh man, that's sad. Like I liked them or whatever. But what'll often happen for me is like, there'll be a much like the Counting Crows song that says, "Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone, Matt." I don't even know what that song's called, but it just popped in my head.
It's that song, yeah.
It's that song. Yeah, like there'll be like a celebrity death every now and then that hits me just harder than I expect to, and normally it's from people whose work made a larger impact on my life than I think I initially realized. And this happened last year with Akira Toriyama. When he passed, that I grieved that loss, and it happened when Iwata died. It happened for me a bit when Robin Williams died, and yeah, it's happened for me now that David Lynch is dead. Like, there's something about like his individuality and like his creativity and his devotion to his own creativity, like the just wholly unique. There will only ever be one David Lynch, and the stuff that he made just impacted me and influenced me, and like the way that he carried himself as a person, let alone like I love Mulholland Drive and Blue Velvet and Twin Peaks and stuff, and I've been thinking a lot about like my first viewings of a lot of his things and the way that his movies kind of like watching stuff like Blue Velvet and Eraserhead and stuff, like it made me rethink the way that I consume movies in general. Like the notion that like the questions are better than the answers, and that you don't need to look at every movie as like a structured like 3-act plot, kind of thing, like a story being told to you. Sometimes, he looked at his movies as literally moving paintings, and it kind of made me, I think, consider that entire art form in a different way. And I don't know if there's any other director, period, that has made me do that. So yeah, it feels like a tremendous loss. Like his work was so like unique and strange and like primal and human in a way that I really appreciated. And it just, like, he was old. He passed away just like days before his 79th birthday. He was also in bad health. He had like emphysema from years of smoking and stuff. So like, it's one of those things where like, yeah, this makes sense, but it still sucks that like, I don't know, like we're never going to see that again. We'll see things that are inspired by it. My wife and I just watched The Substance the other day. It's very Lynch inspired and stuff, but we'll never get anything like him ever again. And I don't know, like that to me is like it's lost in the true sense of the word. And yeah, I've been really sad about it, man. He was a big influence on me for sure.
Yeah, David Lynch. I mean, I've never finished watching Twin Peaks, and I really want to, because I really loved what I saw of it. I tried. It was actually weird. Like a month ago, I was trying to show my wife The Rabbits.
Yeah,
and she just, the further in we got, her eyes just like squinted more and more. She's like, "What are we doing here?" I'm like, "It's art. We're watching The Rabbits." Yeah, it sucks. It's also relevant to a video game music podcast, just from the fact that I would almost say that David Lynch, maybe despite the fact that he was a movie director, that maybe he's the biggest influence on video games from the film medium. Like there's
Definitely.
So many games that even just tonally are so inspired by his work. I mean, obviously, like you got Link's Awakening and Deadly Premonition. And yeah, it's a huge loss from like a creative standpoint. Not that I believe in higher powers and all this stuff as anything more than just a coincidence. But yeah, him passing right before the Trump inauguration was very ominous. It's very like, oh great,
dude. Yeah,
like another good one's gone, another evil one's stepping up to the podium again.
That's a thing. Also, like, the inauguration happened on his birthday, and what ended up happening was his family had tweeted out, like, from his official like Twitter account or whatever, like, hey, we're not doing like a traditional funeral that's going to be whatever publicly broadcasted, but if you want to feel like a part of something, like if you want to help celebrate David Lynch's life. Another thing that I love about David Lynch is he was a staunch advocate for meditation, as I am too. And his family said, like, on his birthday, which was Monday, January 20th at noon Pacific time, I think it would be great if we could all meditate together around the world for 10 minutes in his memory. And yeah, like I did that, and it did feel connected and stuff on a day that would otherwise be kind of tough, and was kind of tough for myself and a lot of people. It was cool that, like, even after he was gone, he was kind of like in his own way, like giving, I don't know, just a different way of looking at something, and a different way of like kind of going through something. And I don't know, I thought that sentiment was just really beautiful. And it was, it was a nice kind of like opportunity on a day where I think a lot of people needed to step away and just meditate and be quiet for a little bit. Like his passing kind of provided that, weirdly. I don't know how many people actually did it or whatever, but the sentiment I think is beautiful.
Yeah, I do think the sentiment is beautiful. I'll also give a warning that the monkey knockout gas detector is going wild right now. We are so far off the
rails. Yep.
It's fine. We haven't had a bit harmony in a month. You're gonna get this in like a little condensed pill And then we're gonna be back next time with a video game episode that spans the decades in our lives. It's fine. The other things I had noted here, TikTok was banned in America, and then 14 hours later, TikTok was unbanned in America.
This is one of those ones where like I could get real angry about this if we really wanted to go down this rabbit hole, but yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it?
Dude, it was all over. We were at my in-laws that on Sunday, and it was all over the German news, like that America was banning TikTok and what. Like, again, this is a video game music podcast, or it's supposed to be, but like, it's wild that people just like straight up don't understand how propaganda works and the machinations of like being manipulated. Because like, yes, you are all just straight whatever. It's fine.
It is interesting though to that point that like my wife is a huge fan of TikTok, as a lot of people are, right? And it's like the kind of thing where a lot of people were having like straight up meltdowns when it was taken away, and in some ways justifiably so. I think it's crazy that like actual censorship was kind of set as a precedent, like, and at that level. But at the same time, like yeah, it's so clear, as you're saying, like it's such clear propaganda that a lot of the people using TikTok don't have the sort of nuance or like the whatever the tools to understand like what propaganda is and how it's being used against them, and like it's a multi-layered thing that is very frustrating, but it's ultimately the kind of thing that like we're just seeing happen more and more, and it is crazy. Like it is, I don't know, like this was kind of like, oh, we're starting with this. We're here in January.
Like he's not even in office yet, and we're already starting with this. Yeah. It was pretty bad. And then I also had the presidential inauguration down, but we've kind of talked about it extensively at this point. Hey, when people are showing you they're a Nazi on a world stage, maybe just take them at their word that they're a Nazi, man. I want Bit Harmony to become like the revolutionary radio, like underground radio. Like, this is the resistance radio.
I just want it to be like, I want it to be blared over like tinny ham radios the world over.
And then it's gonna go to a break, and it's Donkey Kong country music.
And now we just got done spurring the new American Revolution, and that was Forced Interlude by David Wise.
The last note I have here is that I got back into peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I was sick.
Hell yeah.
We don't need to talk about that. I will just say peanut butter is not that big of a thing in Germany. So, like my wife has never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich until the other day, and she's like, "Oh, this is pretty good."
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Like go ahead.
No, it's such a thing here. So it's like what it's like. You grow up on it here. It's part of like the average American diet here or something. So.
Right. Well, because peanut butter was invented in America, right? That was George Washington Carver. So like I that's probably what it is. I mean, you can get peanut butter at any store here, at least now. I think in like a decade ago that was maybe a little different. But I will say the peanut butter is very weak over here, but the jelly game is strong over in Germany. They don't have grape jelly apparently. When my wife asked what kind of jelly to get, I was like, "Yeah, I usually go grape," and she's like, "Grape? What do you mean grape jelly?" I was like, "What do you mean? What do I mean? Grape jelly?" She's like, "This not. I've never seen grape jelly." But we got blueberry jelly, and that's way better than grape jelly anyway. So,
okay,
yeah,
I like that.
It's been good. I was just super sick, and all that sounded good was peanut butter and jelly. So,
I love it. I love a PB&J. It's so funny that you bring up the George Washington Carver thing. Like, dude, like that's something you learn in school here. Like you learn about the creation of peanut butter in school in America, and it's like, why the hell are we learning about this? What does this have to do with anything?
If I remember correctly, I think there was like an interstitial on like Sesame Street that also talked about George Washington Carver too. I think he also was the one that realized that like, oh, we can't keep planting the same things in the same soil over and over. Like we need to give our soil a break. And that's when he started planting peanut crops. And then also with all that excess peanuts, he created peanut butter. So I think that is probably the overall more important thing. Again, monkey knockout gas detectors
so
going
back.
off. And as we mourn the state of America, we celebrate the state of the Nintendo Music Address. We've got 4 Nintendo Music app drops that happened while we were gone. Should have been 5, but they took the first week off. First week of the year, they didn't upload anything. I saw people online being very upset about that. Like,
oh my God.
You're telling me they can't program it so it just drops without people being in the office? Like, dude, who cares? It's fine. I swear, we're all gonna be fine. The first album they uploaded since we've been gone, that is, it was Mario 64. Composed by Koji Kondo, released in 1996. I have thoughts about this in a way I wasn't expecting to. Okay. I love Mario 64. I think besides Odyssey, it might still be my favorite 3D Mario game. And that's just because I like how it controls. I like that it feels like Mario doesn't feel like modern Mario. He feels kind of like, he feels like he's just slippery, and it feels like you're controlling like a box that looks like Mario, kind of, because not even that much. But I just like how the controls really, you're able to do whatever you want to do as long as you have the precision. Whereas like even in Odyssey, you don't need as much precision. So I've always really appreciated that. Obviously, nostalgia is a big part of that. That said, I find the soundtrack not that much fun to listen to outside of like the obvious ones. I think File Select might be the best File Select theme of any video game ever. It's either that or Metroid Prime for me. Obviously you've got stuff like Dire Docks, Bowser's Road, but again, Bowser's Road has been like remixed in like 4 separate newer Mario games, and it sounds better there anyway. So that's kind of where a problem with it lies for me, is that there's just better versions of a lot of these Mario 64 songs out there. Even like Bob-omb Battlefield has that Mario Galaxy 2 version, you know? Like, this is a very classic soundtrack, but I think in 2025, there's not much here that I like want to listen to on its own, if that makes sense.
I come at Mario 64 from a bit of a different place, where I have a ton of nostalgia for the game. Also, I watch Mario 64 speedruns like at least once a week. I know like everything about Mario 64 at this point, just from sheer attrition. I've probably watched, like 300 plus Mario 64 speedruns over the course of my life. And yeah, it's interesting because like I personally find Mario 64 kind of hard to go back to as a video game. Like, I'll turn it on and I'll play it a little bit and I'll be like, okay, sick. And like, I never feel compelled to keep playing. And I don't know if it's just because of that familiarity, or if it's because like sometimes I find myself struggling with the controls of it or whatever, but it is just, it's the early days of like 3D platforming and stuff. But I still love like, I don't know, like the kind of vibe of that game, the way it was structured. It really does feel like, the ideas of 2D Mario brought into 3D like properly, more so than a lot of the other 3D Mario games have. So I respect Mario 64 a great deal. And yeah, I think the soundtrack it's one of those things, right, where like, yeah, it's iconic, and it kind of like set the stage for a lot of things, and the tonality of Mario kind of had a few different turning points, and Mario 64 is definitely one of them. But yeah, I don't find myself like returning to it that much. Like, I don't ever find myself like, with the exception of, yeah, something like Dire Docks, which is like an all-timer, like I don't find myself going back and being like, yeah, let me like turn on Bob-omb Battlefield right now. Let me like turn on Chill Mountain right now, or whatever. Like, I don't know, like it's not the kind of thing that I find myself going back to. It's the kind of thing that I find myself enjoying while I'm there, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I'll also note that I think the Staff Roll song might be my favorite of all time. Like it's really damn good, but yeah, it's not a soundtrack I'm gonna sit down and listen to. Also, yeah, I've heard it so many times. Like you, I do think Mario 64 is the speedrun I've watched the most of, because of how the movement works, it is like the most hype like speedrun game I can think of.
Definitely. Yeah.
And yeah, I used to watch it, like I used to fall asleep watching Mario 64 runs 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, soundtrack, maybe it's just overplayed for me at this point, but yeah, the soundtrack is just kind of there for me. Next up, we had Donkey Kong Country 3 Dixie Kong's Double Trouble, which we talked about a little bit on the DKC2 episode. This was composed by Eveline Novakovic. I believe she was Evelyn Fisher back then. And also David Weiss was not involved with the soundtrack on the Super Nintendo, but when they ported it to the Game Boy Advance, I believe he did an entirely new soundtrack for it, which I would love to hear, but also the GBA version of DKC2 really sucks, and I don't really want to I don't want to play the DKC3 GBA version anyway, but I would like to hear the David Weiss version of the soundtrack. So I'm on record as saying that I think DKC3 is very underrated. I think it's only like a one step below DKC2 as a video game, and I feel the same way about it as a soundtrack. It's not on the level of DKC2, but I don't think it's as far below it as people make it out to be. I think Rockface Rumble is by far my standout. That's like the mountainy region level music. For whatever reason, as a kid, DKC3 was my favorite. And I think it's because of how different it was from the pirate vibes of the second game. I like how it's so European. I didn't know that back then. I couldn't describe it that way back then, but it's so mountain and lake focused.
Definitely.
And that gives it such a unique vibe, among the DKC series on its own, but also just in games in general. I can't really think of any game that had this exact vibe. And so that, coupled with the fact that there's like a world map with secrets to find and stuff, as a kid, 3 was it. I loved 3. Also the best boss fights in the series too.
Totally.
But yeah, I get it. It's not, objectively, it's not as good as 2. And that's the same thing with the soundtrack. So I guess I don't have too much more to add. Other than that, I think 3 gets unfairly maligned among like the Nintendo dorks of the world.
Yeah.
It's still really good, y'all.
I'm with you. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you just said. I mean, I definitely think that like it's really hard to top, for not just this game but for any game. It's pretty hard to top those vibes of DKC2, like the like pirate, kind of vibe, like the atmosphere. The atmosphere of DKC2 is like some of the best atmosphere in video games, period. So like following that up was always going to be a struggle, I think, but yeah, it is. I mean, DKC3's like tone and vibe and soundtrack, like, yeah, there's not that many. It kind of has like a almost like Scottish Highlands kind of feel to it. Mm-hmm. Like there's like a kind of like overcast, mountains and like foggy lakes and stuff kind of vibe, and it really does feel like country. Like it for the first time, Donkey Kong Country feels like Donkey Kong Country, It doesn't feel like Donkey Kong Jungle or Donkey Kong Pirate Ship. It feels like Donkey Kong Country, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like there is definitely something to that. It's also, I think, impossible. Like the Diddy Dixie combo in DKC2, I think, is like just unbeatable. Like it's, so like it had big shoes to fill, but I'm with you. I don't think it's as big a drop off as a lot of other people think it is.
I think it's cool that they swerved instead of just being like, well, yeah, how do we directly follow up to? It's like, well, let's just do our own thing and follow it up however we feel like. Yeah, I appreciate that. Also, I had never 100% of the game until it hit the Nintendo Switch Online Super Nintendo app back in like 2020 or 2019, something like that. I was really impressed. Like, each level has a very overt gimmick. Now, Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 both have that too, but like it feels very, very like specialized in 3 in a way those first 2 games don't. I don't know, it feels very ahead of its time, to the point where Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, which is kind of like the Donkey Kong Country 4, as it were, at least in my mind, it feels like a direct follow-up to 3 in a lot of ways that I find very interesting. But yeah, I think out of all these games we're talking about, this is like the one I would most want to like go back and like play, if that makes sense. I know we're about to talk about a big one too, but I think I stand by that. The next game that they dropped, or the next game soundtrack that they dropped, was The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Now we're talking.
Composed by composed by Kenta Nagata, Hajime Wakai, Toru Minegishi, and Koji Kondo. I mean, we talked about this recently because they uploaded the Skyward Sword soundtrack, and we talked about how I think Wind Waker and Skyward Sword are probably my 2 favorite Zelda soundtracks. And yeah, I still stand by that, having listened to these recently. I do think the Wind Waker nostalgia probably pushes Wind Waker above Skyward Sword for me, soundtrack-wise. Like when I wrote down here like notable tracks, I started writing without even looking at them, without even pulling up a list or anything. I'd already written like 5 down. I'm like, just the whole damn soundtrack is pretty notable. It really is that strong.
Mm-hmm. It's the best Zelda soundtrack, straight up, I think. I mean, it's so like... The thing about it is, and I mean, I know that Wind Waker is, I think, maybe become a little overrated in recent years, to the point where I remember I tweeted one time about, like, I was talking about Wind Waker, and I was talking about the dungeon design in Wind Waker, because Wind Waker probably has my least favorite dungeons in maybe the entire series in a lot of ways. Especially some of the things that people, like, actively say they dislike about video games, things like fetch quests and escort quests, are like all over Wind Waker, and it's funny. I still love that game, but like the soundtrack, I think, elevates a lot of things about that game beyond the sum of its parts, like that kind of world influence, like even just like the opening song, like even just the main menu song of Wind Waker immediately is like, oh yeah, dude, like we're in an entirely different space, like tonally we're in a completely different world. Getting to like Dragon Roost Island, it just sounds so cool and weird, and like that was the first time I'd ever really heard music like that, playing that game as a teenager. And we one thing that I had a little bit of an experience with this game when the soundtrack hit Nintendo Music. My wife and I have been going to the gym every weekday, and I was on the treadmill at the gym and just listening to that whenever that dropped or whatever that morning, and just like walking on the treadmill and like hearing the Outset Island theme like in my head while I'm walking. It kind of took me back to like a place, like a kind of, I don't know, just like whimsical childhood place. It reminded me of like walking around my neighborhood with my friends as a kid, where we would just walk around the block. Like, we would just walk around the block for hours, just talking. Maybe I'd have my guitar with me or whatever, and I'm just, like, kind of fiddling around on my guitar while we're walking and talking about life or whatever as teenagers. And, yeah, just something about that, like, walking on the treadmill and hearing Outset Island in my ear kind of took me back to that place. It got me genuinely emotional, like, at the gym. I'm like, I don't want to be the fat weirdo crying on the treadmill at the gym, but that was kind of, I was kind of approaching that, listening to this soundtrack. It's a special soundtrack.
It's really good. I think this is probably like my favorite soundtrack on the Nintendo Music app, period, right now. So far. It's either this or like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Or
Wii Sports. Yeah,
Wii Sports and the Wii channels stuff. Yeah, that's also up there. But yeah, like the Great Sea, I think I go back and forth on if I think the Great Sea is the best overworld theme in a Zelda game ever, or Spirit Tracks. I love the Spirit Tracks
really good
theme.
Yeah,
but I think I have to give it to the Great Sea. And yeah, you already mentioned Dragon Roost. I also was getting emotional making breakfast the other day, and I think it was the day that Wind Waker came out on the app. And I was shuffling the whole soundtrack while making breakfast for my wife, and the staff credits song came on, and I was like, damn, like, they should put this on Switch. I know that's not an original thought. I know that people have been saying this for like 6 years now, but they should maybe put Wind Waker on the Switch. I don't know.
I agree. Now's the time for it. We, like Windwaker has this kind of, I overthink about everything, but one of my favorite things about Windwaker is Windwaker's story has this kind of tone of like the old, generation wanting to reclaim the world as they saw that it was and stuff, and like kind of rebelling against that. And I'm like, man, maybe now is the time for Wind Waker to come back. Maybe people just need to absorb that message a little bit, And also, yeah, you stab a sword into the foreheads of your enemies. That's what I'm talking about. Lastly, this is just added this morning as of the time of this recording. Super Mario Kart, the original Mario Kart soundtrack, composed by Soyo Oka. We talked about Mario Kart on here before, and also it is relevant too because, a new Mario Kart was just revealed alongside the Switch 2, which is maybe that's why they went for that. I don't know. Maybe it's just coincidence, but yeah.
I think you at the time, you were saying when we talked about this before that Super Mario Kart was your least favorite, and I reacted very strongly to that. That said, there's not that much in the way of soundtrack here, especially when you take out, like, every track has, like, a final lap version that's just, like, sped up.
Right.
So when you take that out, like, this soundtrack is pretty slight. That said, I love Donut Plains. Now, granted, again, this is like the Mario 64 situation where you have a really good Donut Plains arrangement in the form of Mario Kart 8 anyway. But also, they've never arranged, as far as I'm aware, Koopa Beach. Not Koopa Troopa Beach.
Very different.
N64, but Koopa Beach. I love Donut Plains and Koopa Beach. I think, Rainbow Road in this game is also very good. But yeah, my heart is definitely with specifically Koopa Beach. A thing about this soundtrack that I have a connection to, when I was a teenager and like had my first girlfriend or whatever, in quotes, like we held hands a couple times. That's kind of about it. But when I was very like angsty teenager, blah, 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 I was listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin because, it was the mid 2000s and I'm on a computer and I'm just downloading torrents of a bunch of like music that was popular when my dad was growing up, kind of thing. So I had the Led Zeppelin discography, and I forget which is In Through the Outdoor, I think, is like a late Led Zeppelin album. There's a song off there called Fool in the Rain, which is very, very different from like all their like more metal skewing, dorkier, like Tolkien inspired stuff of their early albums. But Fool in the Rain has this like whistle in it, and it sounds exactly like the whistle specifically in Super Mario Kart. So whenever I hear any song in Super Mario Kart that has the whistle, I just immediately think of Fool in the Rain by Led Zeppelin. So with that said, I love the soundtrack just because of that.
I love that. Maybe they referenced that specifically when they were, they're like, what can we do to replicate that Led Zeppelin song for this soundtrack?
Get that whistle in here.
Yeah, I like to imagine Miyamoto like chomping on a cigar. Get me that whistle. Get a real J. Jonah Jameson vibe, Yeah, I want to make it clear because like when it comes to my like tier list of Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart is probably at the bottom. Like I would probably interchange that or the GBA game is my least favorite. But that being said, it's still great. Like I love them all. They're great. I think for me, it's like I played so much of this on Super Nintendo that it's almost become that, coupled with how, just by nature of it being the first one, how slight it is in comparison. It's very nostalgic, but it does, I go back to it now and I'm like, it does end up feeling a little bit like pedestrian at the same time,
Sure.
But yeah, I still love it. Koopa Beach is the big standout for me in this one. Like a lot of the other songs in this are kind of like, I don't know, not as like textured as Koopa Beach, and I love Donut Plains as well. Sean Capri's probably listening to this. Donut Plains is like his favorite video game song, like of all time.
It's great, and also great. I was there when you were ranking all the Mario Kart 8 stages. I saw what you did to Donut Plains, and I've not forgotten.
Didn't I put it in the A tier? Didn't I put it in like A or B or something?
My statement still stands. I will go so far as say I think Donut Plains is the best track in Mario Kart 8. I think it is. Oh my god. It's the perfect length. It's the perfect amount of like curves and stuff that you can get the drift off of. The Monty Moles aren't super annoying, while they're still a thing that you have to watch out for. Donut Plains rules. I don't even like Mario Kart 8 that much. I think 7 is a way better Mario Kart. But in terms of tracks in Mario Kart 8, you can't beat Donut Plains.
No, man, you're making... Sean Capri probably just crashed his car listening to that. He's probably freaking out. I can't wait to hear his response to this episode. No, like I love it. It's just, it doesn't hit me, I think, quite as hard as it does for y'all. But I do still love it. And it was nice to see this be added here. And I think that like there's something about like the DK, and DK Jr. kind of design of this one. It's kind of, I like seeing different kinds of Donkey Kong, and seeing that with like the new design for DK in the new Mario Kart, it kind of makes me happy. Like it kind of reminds me of Super Mario Kart a little bit, like like just that kind of left of center, that kind of different from what we're used to kind of vibe. It did kind of remind me of Super Mario Kart a little bit. I don't know. I liked that.
No, I'm with you, because when I first saw the Donkey Kong redesign in this Switch 2 Mario Kart, I was like, oh god, is that Donkey Kong Jr.? Like I genuinely thought it was actually Donkey Kong Jr. at first. I mean, yeah, in that whole 2.5-3 minute video, the only thing I got excited about was the Donkey Kong redesign, honestly. So I'm with you. I just like the phrase, I just love seeing different kinds of Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I like as many different Donkey Kongs as you can. It's very funny too that like we got that, but like also we just got DKC Returns on Switch. And
on the same day.
On the same day. And also you guys just made an entire theme park where it's very based on DKC Returns. It's like, feels very confused.
and I'll say this, I love the Donkey Kong Country games. We've talked about it extensively on the show. Returns is not nearly as good as Tropical Freeze, but it is still a really good game. I just don't want to pay full price for it. If I can ever find it for like $20, I'll be there immediately.
I'm with you.
That said, if they had just given Donkey Kong his new design in this port of Returns, I would have bought it. I would have paid $100 for this because I'm an idiot. Like what? Like what are they doing?
That would have made it more exciting. That would have made it feel new. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Also, I want to see like how weird like Diddy and the others might look if they're going for like a unified art, which I assume they would.
Yeah, interesting. Well, we do see like Diddy in the Mario movie, and I don't know if it would just be based on that. Like same design or whatever. It didn't look that different, to be honest.
Yeah, he had like his shirt was longer or something.
Yeah,
that's what I remember about it. But yeah, Nintendo, if you're listening, you did a great job with the Donkey Kong redesign. Show me more Donkey Kongs while you're
I love it. Yeah.
When it comes to rankings, I think we should just eschew it. This is such a we're catching up. There's 4. What do you want me to do? It's an A because Wind Waker's here. Like, what does it matter? Like,
right.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll go back to our rankings for the next episode. We'll just give this one an A then, because there's 4 of them and Wind Waker's in here. How about
Wind Waker? It couldn't go lower than an A just by virtue of Wind Waker being in the batch, right?
Right. Yeah, Wind Waker is like top 3 maybe Nintendo, top 5 for sure Nintendo soundtracks ever. It's very good. With that said, I want to quickly go over anything that like we missed in our favorite soundtracks of 2024 stuff or updates on. And by quick, I mean I'm not going to spend more than like a minute on probably anything here. When we recorded that, I hadn't finished Nine Souls. I'd say like a few days later, I finished it. Yeah, that soundtrack was amazing throughout. I'll play something else that we didn't play on the last episode beneath us talking about it, but yeah, if you like Sekiro and Metroidvanias, it is fantastic. I had it as my number 2 game of the entire year, my game of the year listing. So, it's not as much of a time commitment as Hollow Knight, thankfully. I like it more than Hollow Knight, but I'm more of a combat over exploration type of guy anyway. Yeah, Nine Souls. Definitely check it out. We talked about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth on the midpoint, not on the previous episode, but on the midpoint of the year episode. My wife and I finished that. We dropped it because of other stuff coming out, and then we finally convinced ourselves to get back to it. We finished it like a few days ago. Just want to shout it out because we can get to talk about it when I think it is probably a top 5 album of the year for sure, or soundtrack of the year. When we talked about it in the midpoint, I think I only brought like battle themes to that, but like I love the goofy, like the fact like menu music in Yakuza games is top tier. I just really, I was blown away. Even like the menu where you switch your job in this one, incredible, just super catchy. Just loved it. Just was a great time all around. My wife did finish Infinity Nikki, the story so far. They are updating it with new story content in like 3 days from now. She put 168 hours into it and is still fiending for more.
Oh my god.
Dude,
Hell
the
yeah.
music keeps getting crazier and crazier. There is this like cosmetic factory where like each section is like based on like perfume or makeup, or I forget what the third one is. Like there's this part where these like machine presses are coming down, and like every time that they hit the conveyor belt, they go like ah, and like that adds to the song.
Oh, love it.
It is fantastic. Yeah. I'm not joking when I say if like my wife had been further in the game when we did that episode, like the songs we picked for that episode would have been completely different, because it is wild how much music is in the game, the quality of it, how much content is in that game in general. I got my wife a PlayStation Network card for Christmas, and she did buy like the Battle Pass equivalent. It's not called a Battle Pass because it's Infinity Nikki, but she's only put €10 into it so far, and she's gotten way more than her money's worth. So I don't even mind fully recommending this game to people now, because like, yeah, she beat the entire story without needing to spend a single dime on it. So Infinity Nikki continues to rule. I did play a lot of Balatro on the break. By a lot, I mean between 5 and 10 hours. You know, you and I, we keep joking that you and I are the Balatro haters. And yeah, compared to other people, we are. I get the game a bit more, and I get the appeal of it more now than I did a month ago, even though I'm still not on that this is one of the best games ever made train. When it comes to a soundtrack, even there's only one song in the entire game, but just each time you're going to a different menu or going to a different battle, as it were, blind, like they are just removing or adding layers to the song. It's genius. Like it would be impossible to like really convey on an episode of this, but like honestly, this probably should be talked about more from a soundtrack perspective. I guess the only other thing to talk about is Brothership, Mario and Luigi Brothership. I'm not going to talk about it too long because we talked about it on the Koopa Cast and stuff. I just want to say I think this game got done dirty, both as a video game and a soundtrack.
It did.
And
yeah, definitely.
I'm 35 hours in now, or like 36, and I'm having a blast. I don't want it to end. I've been working on it slowly for like over a month now, or just under a month, I guess. Like I can see why like the IGN reviewer that had to beat it in a week or whatever probably hated it. I get it.
That's the thing, right?
But like experiencing it just like an hour or two at a time, I'm like, this might be the best Mario RPG when it comes to like an RPG side of things. Like I still like Paper Mario, the original, the most, but the RPG battle elements in Brothership are out of this world good. Best bosses in the series. It's just really good. Also, the soundtrack is incredible. Even I played a little bit last night after I finalized our break songs, and I was like, damn, I shouldn't have done that, because now there's a new song I just heard that was like a jellyfish dance club. Like that would have been my break song if I had heard that.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's good, dude. It's really, really good. But again, when people hear 50 hours, I get it, but it's also like, yeah, just play this over the course of like 3 months or something, and it's fine. The game is like friendly and straightforward enough that like you're not going to forget what you're doing or whatever. But I just wanted to shout those out, and that was already longer than I thought it was going to be.
No, sure. Yeah, well, on the Mario and Luigi point, like I definitely I want that to be kind of like an ongoing conversation this year. I would like to be the people that redeem that game a little bit. you know, this year, because I do think that like some of it is Mario RPG fatigue, some of it is like most of it I think is like the discourse around that game. Brought on by reviewers who are forced to cram it inside of a week, which sounds like hell.
I
Like,
would
that
be
sounds
mad if I
like-
had to beat this in a week. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you know, so like I understand that too. And even for me, like when I played that game, I played like 4 or 5 hours of it or something, but I definitely had that like that feeling of like, oh, I need to get this in before this point or whatever, and I'm like, no, you know, like I'm gonna come back to this at some point this year. I'm pretty committed to it, and just like the way that and play it the way that you're talking about, where just pick it up and play it for an hour or 2 hours at a time, and like take your time with it, and don't overwhelm yourself with like all of this stuff and feel like this has to be the kind of experience that you just like consume and like dopamine in, dopamine out, you know, just like, and then just like consume and move on to the next thing, which I think is the way a lot of people just like consume art in general, but video games especially in the modern age, and this just sort of like, you know, everything is just like this dopamine factory of keeping you engaged. And I think it's nice to have this thing that you can just go to every couple days, whatever, play for an hour here and there, and then come back, and that's how I want to consume that. So I'm pretty committed to coming back to that soon, and I would like to talk about it some more on the Koopa Cast or whenever I get around to it. So yeah, I definitely want to play more Brothership. I did finish Arco on the break, which we talked about during that episode, and I'm glad I finished it because it did solidify it as my number 3 game of the year, as it turns out. Arco's real good. Everybody should play Arco. But yeah, like my biggest like snub for me, and I messaged you this not long after that episode. I was like, we definitely should have put UFO 50 in there somewhere, and I feel bad for that. I accept responsibility for it because I know that you've kind of taken this stance of, you know, I'm waiting for it to come to Switch, and I think you have specifically not consumed really anything because you're waiting for it to come to a platform that you can really properly enjoy it on, and I get that. So I do just want to, you know, bear that cross here on Bit Harmony. I regret the error. I regret the lapse in judgment. UFO 50 should have been shouted out in the best soundtracks of the year.
Yeah, this is metaphor. These are the two things that like I feel bad for not playing, because again, Spelunky 2 is like my number 2 favorite game of all time. Like, I love Spelunky 1 and 2 so much, and you know, the next thing from like Derek Yu's studio and team, like this was so high up. I've been hyped for this game for years. Like literally, like that was announced like before Spelunky 2 was announced. I've been waiting for this thing, and just I would kill to be able to play this on my Switch or even my PlayStation, you know, day one. You know, obviously my PC can run a bunch of like 8-bit games. It's just like, I don't like sitting over here unless we're recording or editing a podcast. It's just not, this has almost become like a work zone for me now, and I just don't really want to play games over here unless it's for a specific purpose, you know? That said, when I get around to it, or even before, if we decide, hey, let's do a UFO 50 episode, then I'll buy it on Steam, and then I'll consume it for quote-unquote work in that case. But, yeah, I really want to play UFO 50. I love Derek Yu's stuff. Again, we're going to talk about Spelunky before the end of the episode is up, because we've got some things to talk about. But yeah, UFO 50, I basically not seen or heard any specifics from this game beyond what people were saying. I did see a little bit of the GDQ run that happened, a week or two ago. Specifically, I saw the last game that they played in that run, which is like the laser tank kind of thing, where you're like teleporting between like the walls and the ceiling and stuff. And I was blown away just by that. I'm like, man, this looks cool as hell. And like, I would have, if this was an actual NES game, I'd probably love it on its own as an NES game, you know? So the fact that there's, you know, 40 something other games in there of that quality, or maybe not of that quality, but around that quality, is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty high up my list to get to. And yeah, the songs you sent, they're awesome. They're really good.
Yeah.
With that said, let's go on our first break before we get to voicemails. We're going to play you Seaside Drive Stage 4 from UFO 50. and Dungeon from Mario and Luigi Brothership. UFO 50 was composed by Eirik Suhrke, and Mario and Luigi Brothership was composed by Hideki Sakamoto, and we'll be back. And that was Seaside Drive Stage 4 from UFO 50, composed by Eirik Suhrke and Mario and Luigi, or from Mario and Luigi Brothership. Dungeon, composed by Hideki Sakamoto. With Seaside Drive Stage 4, excuse me. Like I said, I don't have like any context from this other than that it is a specific stage from a specific game from UFO 50. It really gives me some Blaster Master vibes with like a bit of Outrun mixed in there, which maybe that's just the Seaside Drive name is influencing me to think about Outrun or something. But yeah, I know just the music coupled with the name, it just makes me think about like driving like in a convertible with the top down or something.
Yeah, that's more or less what it is. I mean, it is like the whole thing kind of has this like sunset Miami, kind of vibe. But it's UFO 50 it's crazy just the amount of stuff that is in that game. Like not only the sheer amount of like high quality games, and even the games that that you might not click with, you can still appreciate how cool they are, like design wise. And it also has this kind of like, I don't know, like little unspoken story between it, because you're learning about UFO Soft, like the company that made, like the fake company that made these games, and like you're realizing like little interpersonal drama, like, oh, this guy's like was not credited properly for Seaside Drive, like where'd the falling out happen there, stuff like that. Like it's really cool. Like it really feels like you're uncovering like lost media just in general. It's a very, very, very neat game, and it's a crime that it's not on Switch, because I'd probably have 100 hours in this game already if it was on Switch, Yeah, it's Seaside Drive though is an interesting game because you're like this little dude in a car, and you're like shooting whatever, like weird alien octopus and like a killer whale with like a wizard hat on and stuff. And it's like a shooter, like you're at the bottom of the screen and you're shooting things at the top of the screen. But the kind of gimmick of the game is like where you're aiming your shots is also going to be the direction that your car is driving in. So it's like a balance of like aiming and driving. But you also have this like charge meter at the bottom of the screen, and anytime that you're driving to the left, the charge meter is rising, and anytime you're driving to the right, the charge meter is falling. So you have this balance of like, like I need to shoot in a particular angle, but the amount of damage that I'm doing is dependent on my positioning while driving. And there's like this constant like back and forth of how you drive and how you shoot. It's a really interesting game. It's really cool. And all the games in UFO 50 are like that. Like they're all just these interesting, well-considered games with great soundtracks. Like the body of work, there's like over 300 tracks on the UFO 50 OST, and like it is very consistently excellent, like the whole way. It's a kind of a miraculous little thing, and it's the kind of game where like this game, if I had more time to spend with it last year, I think it absolutely would have been somewhere in my top 10.
Yeah, just based on what it is, and again the design pedigree, I have a feeling this would have been like my number 2 or 3, honestly, just based on what I know about it. I knew that there was like a meta level of like, you're uncovering like the software library of this alternate reality software company. But I did not know that there was like stuff like that what you were describing with like the people not being credited, fake people not being credited on these games or whatever. That's pretty cool. The only thing I can think of that comes close to that are those the games based on Game Center CX, where they created a few like 8-bit games with like a meta wrapping around it. But I don't think it goes that far to where they have like full on like fake history of the actual developers themselves in there. That's pretty neat.
Let me just say this, like, and this will just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. This comes from the UFO 50 subreddit. If you just Google Seaside Drive, you'll find this. this guy on the subreddit for UFO 50 says like, I just cherried this game. It was a sick game. Cherried is like when you complete the game satisfactory enough, you get like a little, like you cherry it, and it's kind of denoted on the start screen. It was a sick game, but then I saw that all the credits except for Town Nemoros were all shortened to just initials. My joy was immediately replaced with secondhand frustration, and I have to hand it to Mossmouth for making me care so much about fictional developers. And that like that kind of the game just has this kind of like texture, this kind of like meta narrative to it that it never like puts front facing, but you start to notice little things like that, and you start to kind of like learn these people. And there's a little bit of like a the way that like the Digital Eclipse games have been lately, like Tetris Forever and stuff, the way they kind of have like some, I don't know, like documentary style like text and stuff in there. There's a little bit of that in there too, and the game's just kind of waiting for you to dig into it and engage with it in that way. It is very, very damn cool.
Yeah, that sounds incredible. Also, like genuinely like a dream game of mine. Like that just sounds like everything I like about video games wrapped up in one thing. Also, I just love the art, like the official art, and also like the sprite art of stuff I've seen.
It's so good.
Like you know, they have the pilot in Spelunky 2. Like he's from a UFO Soft game in here, and I love the pilot from his appearance in Spelunky 2. I love him.
He's my favorite character in Spelunky 2, and he's in multiple games, and he's like UFO Soft's like mascot. He's in probably, I don't know, like 10 plus games in UFO 50. Like it's really interesting. I'm excited for you to get to play it. This thing needs to be on Switch like yesterday. And yeah, I mean like Seaside Drive Stage 4 specifically, like I don't have a lot of notes on the song itself other than this is my favorite song in Seaside Drive, and it kind of is like the climactic. I think stage 4 actually is like the final stage of Seaside Drive leading up to the final boss fight. And yeah, just like really for me the bass line is like the big standout. Just like that crunchy, like very just like driving bass line is the big thing for me, but that tone, like that sunset again, kind of like beachy kind of tone to the whole thing, that 80s, you mentioned Outrun, like that's I think a perfect, touch point for this. It rules.
Yeah, like just listening to the songs that you send over, like it made me so much more excited to play this eventually one day. I have a feeling if this doesn't come to Switch within the next like year, I will probably just end up getting it on Steam and playing it there. And then it'll come out on Switch 2 afterwards, and that'll be
absolutely,
and that'll be because of me, and you can thank me then. So maybe I should just buy it now, and then it'll get released on Switch. But.
Just fast track it,
yeah. When it comes to Dungeon from Brothership, again, we already talked about like I hemmed and hawed on what to even choose. Honestly, I could have picked like any of like the main island theme songs from this and been happy with it. The battle theme the main battle theme is awesome. The boss battle theme is good. I guess I just ended up picking this one because it just sounds different than the rest of the soundtrack. It's got those getting up to something vibes. It's got the finger snaps and the mystery going on. As the name would imply, this song plays when you're in like not when you're in like the main dungeons of the game, which are these lighthouses, but like these smaller little mini dungeons. I don't know. I just genuinely also appreciated that it didn't break into the Super Mario Bros. Underground theme at any point, because I feel like every Mario game does that at some point or another. And also it felt like there were multiple points where they were about to bust into the classic Mario Underground theme, but they didn't. So that got bonus points for me. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about it. I just thought it was a cool song from a very good and underrated video game.
It's great. I mean, everything that I've heard from the soundtrack is great. Like it genuinely feels standout. Like it and I'm really glad that they didn't just try to emulate Yoko Shimomura's like style or work on Mario and Luigi. Like it feels unique, like the work on this. And this one, first of all, I love that kind of like when it starts off, that kind of like playful like back and forth with like the bass and the flute melodies like kind of trading off. You mentioned the snaps. I love that. But like it's got this kind of like steady like kick drum and like hi-hat. It's very like very downbeat, sneaky. It's got a real like one of my notes here is this is like it got a real Pink Panther ass vibe to it.
That's a pretty good comparison, yeah.
Yeah, like it just kind of feels like that. It feels like getting up to something. It feels sneaky. It feels kind of like spy movie, vibes a little bit. Pink Panther, like it rules. And this is one of those songs where like listening to it for the show, I'm like, oh dude, yeah, I really got to get back to this.
I think in at least 2 of these dungeon areas, Luigi is like hiding in a barrel and is like helping Mario get by undetected. So yeah, it literally is like a stealth section in some of these where it plays.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is really quite good. I would go so far as say, I love Yoko Shimomura's soundtracks. I love the other Mario and Luigi soundtracks. I think this might be my pick for best soundtrack of the series, and that's like saying a lot because I really do like. That's not me trying to diss Yoko Shimomura or anything. It's just that is how good I think the soundtrack is. But otherwise, I think that's all I had to say about these. Do we want to get into the voicemails?
Yeah, we do have some here. The first one, I guess we'll start with this voicemail from Spriteless. Okay, cool. Let's do it.
Hey, Tommy, dudes. It's Spriteless again. Hope you're having a good vacation. I've got a musical request. It's Braving Tall Tall Heights by DJ Pretzel. Game Boy games always make me think of, make me nostalgic for when I first moved out. And, so does this era of OC Remix. And when the world was scary, I would just go on a smaller adventure in these games. So that is my request. I hope you're having a great time. Ciao.
I love that. Thank you, Spriteless. And I love "ciao" as the sign, the sign off there.
Yeah, it's very classy. Thank you for calling in, Spriteless. I like that about when the world is scary, going on a smaller adventure like in your Game Boy. I never really thought of it that way, but that's totally right. Like that is, you and I have talked about this before of like handhelds back then feeling like your own little window into another world. And yeah, that's totally what playing old Game Boy games back then made me feel, especially Pokemon. Like I'm of the age where I didn't play Link's Awakening until the 3DS Virtual Console port happened. But yeah, for me, getting lost inside of Pokemon, that was like my childhood window into another dimension while the world is kind of scary around me game. I know we talked about David Lynch earlier. We talked about like Twin Peaks being a big inspiration for Link's Awakening. So this even though it was completely on accident, that it was very good timing for a request like this to come through.
It was, yeah, and it was cool too. Like we were looking at like how many different versions of Tall Tall Heights that there is, and like how many good like arrangements and stuff that there are, and it'd be a fun idea to do something like that, just like comparing and contrasting different versions. That'd be a fun thing to do at some point. So that was, just looking at this for that kind of got us thinking about that even more nebulously. And yeah, I don't know. Like I love that notion. I love that Spriteless brought up like this very specific like OC remix, and it's one that I hadn't heard in a while. Like I don't know. Like there's something about this one. Like it kind of. This captures like that kind of obnoxious like 90s Eurodance in a charming way. Like that the way that every like 90s Eurodance song has like that kind of like obnoxious build up to like a drop. It's got like it's kind of like Darude Sandstorm coded, again, in a charming way. But like choosing to still maintain like a string melody when like the actual tone of the song is like more electronic. It gives it like instant gravitas in a way. Like it's not just cheesy dance stuff. And the only other note here I have about Braving Tall Tall Heights is at 159, there's a little like drum fill that leads into a key change. I love a key change. So anytime there's a key change, I will shout out a key change. And it worked for me real good.
Yeah, so I'll save some of these notes until after we play the next voicemail and go on a break for these songs. But I had the same note that you did, that it's like very, very, very early 2000s, almost generic dance club music. But like you, I mean that in the best way possible. Like I genuinely like this. I when Spriteless requested this, I didn't remember it. And then I started playing it, and within 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, yeah. I remember this one.
Yeah, my bad. I completely forgot that we didn't actually go on a break for that. So I was like, oh, let me just get my notes out. Yeah, my bad.
No, it's fine. I mean, I have a few more notes to talk about, so it's fine.
Okay. All right,
let's go ahead and play this next voicemail from Phelan then, and then we'll go on a break for these songs.
Okay, got it.
Hey, Matt and Seth, Phelan here. First time calling in with a little bit of an anecdote. Over the holiday season, I was awarded a pair of noise-canceling headphones. And not to sound dramatic, but I think they might have changed my life a little bit. Always thought noise-canceling was a bit of a gimmick, but when I wore them on the plane ride back home, coming from the office Christmas party, all I could hear was the music. Couldn't hear the plane, the wind, the chatter. It was like I was the main character in a music video. With that being said, with my newfound love of noise canceling, I went back and listened to a lot of my favorite video game soundtracks with the noise canceling enabled to see if I could get anything out of them. And there was one track that I think benefited the most from it, and I wanted to share it with y'all today. I'd like to request that y'all play Move Me from Ridge Racer Type 4 on the PlayStation 1. No, I haven't played this game, but I discovered its soundtrack like 5 years ago at this point, and it has been in my rotation ever since I discovered it. So I hope you guys enjoy, and until next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Phelan. Yeah, first time caller, Phelan.
All right, yeah. I forgot, yeah, we ended the previous episode with a request of his, but yeah, that was through text. I forgot about that. Yeah, thank you, Phelan. Also, you know, I've never bought like a really nice pair of headphones or earbuds or anything. But over the break, my wife and I were Christmas shopping, and we stopped in at like a big electronics retailer here downtown, and just we were in the headphone area, and they had, you know, like try on the headphones kind of thing. And I tried on these like $600 headphones, and I was blown away to the point where I was like, oh, maybe I should get a $600 pair of headphones.
Dude, yeah. I mean, he was talking about like it kind of like low key changing his life. It kind of does. Like it's a very different vibe. Like it's very particular, and it really helps you, like, I guess, connect to and engage with songs in a different way. Mm-hmm. And I love his like point about him feeling like the main character of a music video when listening to it. Like, yes, I had that same experience when I was flying home from New York last year. I was seated behind two people who are in our community, Fulia and Quagmire. We both had the same flight home, and our flights kind of like we had connecting flights going to our final destinations or whatever, but we were on the same like first flight home. And I remember I was sitting behind both of them. I could see both of them in the seats in front of me. And I was listening to Brand New Colony by Postal Service. And it was an emotional like moment for me, because yeah, I did feel like I was in a music video, and like it's like in the breakdown of that song, it's saying like everything will change. I don't know if I'm going to see these people ever again, you know? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And it was like a really emotional moment. So like I can relate to that notion of like, yeah, just kind of feeling like you're in your own little world, and you're commanding your own space, and you know the world around you kind of stands still because the music is the only thing that you're hearing. It is a very unique singular experience.
Yeah, when I was trying them on, and then my wife was trying to ask me how is it, I was just like, oh, yeah. Like when you can't even hear what you yourself are saying, that's when you know you got on some good headphones, I guess. Yeah, with that said, let's go on a break then for these two requests. We've got Braving Tall Tall Heights. I believe that was by Disco Dan and not DJ Pretzel. When I was looking it up, that's how it's accredited on ocremix.org, just to be clear. And then Move Me from Ridge Racer 4 that was composed by Kota Takahashi. And then we will be back for more voicemails.
And I'll actually save my notes for Move Me until after the break.
It's fine. Shaking the rust off. Monkey knockout, guys. again. That was Braving Tall Tall Heights and Move Me. So, again, we talked about Braving Tall Tall Heights a little bit before we took the break. I do want to note this was posted on ocremix.org on August 9th, 2003 to make you feel as old as possible. And also, to me, it makes me happy to see that
I
date,
love it. Yeah. Like seeing that, like whenever I go and look at an OC remix and I see that it was posted like 16 years ago, I'm like, hell yeah, man.
Like, yeah, this OC remix was posted before I was even in high school. And like,
totally.
I'm not that far off of my 20-year anniversary of graduating high school. Like, that's how old this song is, And yeah, like we talked about, it makes sense because it really has that like late 90s, early 2000s vibe to it. What I specifically noted, what it reminded me of, and maybe I even saw something like this back then, it really brought to mind like a Newgrounds Flash animation or something, like a Newgrounds Flash video that would have had this as the background music. It also really gives me like Super Smash Bros. Melee like combo video vibes. Like someone would have had like garbage like cam footage of them playing Smash Bros. And doing a sick combo, and they set it to this music. That's the kind of like nostalgia era we're talking about with this song to me.
That's a good pull. Yeah, there is something about that kind of like that string melody. I think like this song. For me, OC remixes in general remind me of GDQ, like kind of in my kind of, I guess, modern reframing of OC remixes. Like, that's kind of like they always pull from OC remixes. And I'm sure that I've heard this multiple times on like various GDQs over the years. And it kind of makes me think of that. But I think that's the cool thing about OC remixes is that like, I don't know, like they've kind of, I don't know, stuck with me like over the course of my life of consuming them as like an internet gremlin teenager, but then like also kind of hearing them at things like GDQ and still enjoying them, and then like revisiting some of them like for something like this. It's kind of nice to like have reasons to re-engage with these over the years. This is a good one. This is one, again, like I knew it immediately when I first started listening. Like you said, you're like, oh right, it's this one. But yeah, it definitely takes you back to a place.
Right. And even like I recognized it within the first few seconds, but if I didn't, I absolutely would have remembered by the time the banjo kicks in around 39 seconds in. Just very it's good. The instrumentation here it's not what I was expecting, but it does kind of make sense when you've played Link's Awakening. Like if you're going to do like a dance club version of this, but you still have like a string instrument like that, it kind of with Tall Tall Heights and just like Koholint Island in general, it kind of makes sense that it would sound like this. I really just, I have so much nostalgia for 2003 to 2006 or so OC remix era. It's funny putting it like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I really only listened avidly to OC remix for like a few years there, but it felt like such a huge chunk of my life. And yeah, I've gone back like GDQ. Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this one, and I quickly go on there and like bookmark it or whatever. I've been going out of my way to listen to more modern OC remixes the last couple of years, probably largely because of GDQ, and it's been fun. It's been enjoyable. I don't listen to all of them like I used to, as you put it, as a teenage goblin internet person, but it's been fun, like, yeah, reconnecting a little bit, and then, yeah, having, with this podcast, having a reason to go out of your way to listen to some older OC remixes. I'm really looking forward to doing another Oops All Remixes episode, and we just go all in on OC remix stuff again. I think that'll be fun. When it comes to Move Me, I don't have that many notes other than it absolutely rules. And also, like Phelan said, Ridge Racer just has an incredible library of music that they've been adding to for decades. Honestly, truly, I think Ridge Racer music is like the pinnacle of racing game music to me, in the way that like Tekken is kind of the pinnacle of like fighting game music, which I guess they're both Namco Bandai, which I didn't even think about till right now. So even with like a crappy pair of 8-year-old Apple earbuds, I can totally understand why Phelan was like just losing his mind listening to this with like noise canceling ones. Have you played much like Ridge Racer over the years?
I've never played a Ridge Racer game. I don't care to ever play a Ridge Racer game, frankly. I probably will go the rest of my life without ever playing a Ridge Racer game. However, the soundtracks are like legendary. Like I know the music well, and I was overjoyed to hear Phelan talk about Move Me in particular. One of my favorite Ridge Racer songs, and like it like from top to bottom, Ridge Racer is kind of known. I mean, like it's one of those, like, if you know, you know, like people that know Ridge Racer know how good its music is. And again, never engaged with it as a game. Don't really care to. I'm not a big like racing game dude. Just in general, it's not a genre that I typically engage with. Nothing really against it, but that soundtrack, man, it is like one of the most consistently great video game franchises in terms of its music. Like it is just amazing top to bottom. Like, and this is one of those things where when you're a video game music fan, like every now and then you'll kind of discover, like, it's like you're unearthing like these little gems of like, oh my God, Ridge Racer, you know, and like, and then you go down the rabbit hole and you're like, this is all good. Like, it's just, you know, and it feels like you've just stumbled into a gold mine of amazing music. And like, yeah, like I remember when I first got kind of turned on to the music of Ridge Racer, having never played those games. So yeah, I'm so happy that we've finally been able to really celebrate Ridge Racer a little bit.
Yeah, I think I played a little bit of like a PSP Ridge Racer game on my friend's PSP, but it was for like half an hour. Like I remember holding it in my hands and being, oh my God, this is the future, because it was 2004 and I was holding a PSP in my hand or whatever, 2005, I guess. But other than that, I don't remember much about it. But yeah, I think my friend Colin linked me like the Ridge Racer 4 20th anniversary soundtrack. And yeah, that's like a remastered soundtrack, which also has a remaster of this song on it too. Yeah, anyone that likes video game music, you should listen to that. I think it's called like R4 20th anniversary or something soundtrack. It is really damn good. There's like a 7.5 minute version of this song. Also, it just like it has better quality than this version, just because it's a remastered soundtrack. Like I said, I don't have much else to say. I just do want to note that like the flutes at 138 or so really got me, and then it just went right back afterwards to really crunchy electric guitars. That's everything I like with video game music is flutes to crunched guitars. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I have like one of my notes here is like, dude, it's midnight right now, and 125 made me do a little spin in my chair. Like that. That's where I was kind of at. Yeah, it's got that gentle like little breakdown against like the persistent like D&B percussion of it. Like that really does it for me. It really does move me, I would say.
There you go. Again, we can't really do anything better than that. Let's get to, we've got a Bot Harmony text that came through.
All right, let's hear what Bot Harmony has to say.
What's your favorite good game with a bad soundtrack? Bad game with a good soundtrack?
I love the cadence of that.
Yeah, the cadence is so bad. I probably could have got a more natural sounding Bot Harmony for that one, but I purposely left it as is because I thought it was pretty funny. Again, Bot Harmony, I will gladly take all y'all's texts, but yeah, we won't do dedicated breaks for Bot Harmony stuff, which is probably good because we could do whole episodes on these very subjects, you know. For favorite bad game with a good soundtrack, you know, it would be very easy to be a dick and say like Ocarina of Time or whatever, you know. To be clear, I don't think Ocarina is bad, but I'm just saying this really invites some hurt feelings here.
Sure.
That said, I think my answer is Fez, which I think we talked about on the Oops All Remixes episode. I just don't like Fez, even though I don't think it's actually a bad game, but like for me personally, I think that is my answer.
It's funny when it comes to like, bad games with good soundtracks. I didn't have anything that like immediately jumped to mind, just because I have a hard time calling games like bad in a lot of ways. Like it might not necessarily be for me, but like, for example, right, like that Pictionary NES game, like with, you know, like that game has an amazing soundtrack. I don't know that I would call it bad, but like it's kind of like a game that is not something I would normally play or gravitate towards. Silver Surfer, same way, like those Tim Follin, soundtracks, like.
See, I think Tim Follin kind of is the poster boy, because I understand what you're saying, and like, yeah, like how can there be like an objectively bad thing? I think I'd go so far as to say I think Silver Surfer is actually bad. Pictionary is
I've
at
never
least
played
like,
it, so I don't know. Yeah,
I rented it as a kid and I was mad. It was pretty bad.
Well, there you go. That would probably be my go-to answer then. Is like Silver, because the game's got an amazing soundtrack if nothing else, and there is that. So I would go from that, like little stuff like Tim Follin probably is like a good poster child for that sort of thing. I actually have a way harder time with like the second part of the question, like good games with bad soundtracks.
I did too, but I think I landed on one that I'm pretty happy with.
Okay.
Yoshi's New Island on the 3DS.
That was exactly the one that came to my mind when I was thinking of this.
That's very funny then.
that was the first thing I thought of. I was trying to think of like some others, and I do have a couple of like secondary ideas, but yeah, that was like the clear like first thought I had. That soundtrack sucks,
dude. It's honestly crazy how bad it is, and like the game isn't amazing either, but I like it more than like. Besides Woolly World, I think it's the best like post Yoshi's Island Yoshi game. Like it's good, it's decent, but man, does that soundtrack suck. I have no idea what song I'm going to be playing behind us for this, but I'm sure everyone listening is upset.
Your ears are bleeding right now. Yeah, like it's like all the kazoo and like the whiny like tinny like. It's bad. I don't really understand. Like, I remember playing the game. I got it day one, like when it came out, and I remember like hearing that like on my 3DS and like immediately muting my 3DS, which I like never do. Mm-hmm. Like just taking that slider, and I was just like, nope, I can't deal with this. Nope.
I know, and yeah, I know you said you had a couple other ones that came to mind, but yeah, I could not think of that many good games with straight up bad soundtrack. That feels like it must be pretty rare.
Yeah, I feel that way. Yeah, where it's like something that is good, but the soundtrack like actually does nothing for you or whatever. And I think that is probably more likely, where like the soundtrack it's not necessarily like glaringly bad, but it just kind of washes over you and you don't really notice it. Mm-hmm. I would say that like some of the stuff that came to mind for me, if I were to like kind of, I don't know, like we're really kind of stretching here, but I think that it's more of a fall from grace than an actual bad soundtrack. Like for me, Diablo 3's soundtrack is nowhere near as good as Diablo 2's, and the best music in Diablo 3 is actually kind of referencing the best music in Diablo 2. So that I think kind of came to mind. I was also thinking about like situations, for example, like Grand Theft Auto 4, which has an amazing soundtrack. They lost the licensing to a lot of the songs, and so they had to update the game to like change and like replace a lot of the songs in the game. And like it sucks. It really sucks, because some of the best, like most evocative music in the game doesn't exist in there anymore. And I love that game. I'm a big Grand Theft Auto 4 defender. And like the music is such a big part of that. And man, it was so rough. Like I remember like mourning that day when I read like some of the songs that got cut out of GTA 4. It was pretty bad. But again, I don't know if that is like a good game with a bad soundtrack, but it's certainly a good game with a changed and lessened soundtrack.
I guess, similarly, I kind of forgot about it, but yeah, the modern Super Meat Boy ports, they had to make a new soundtrack. But even then, like the World 7 where you play as Bandage Girl, I actually like the new Bandage Girl level music more than the old one. So yeah, I don't know if it's just because it was different and I don't like it as much as opposed to being bad.
Right. I'm with you. Yeah, it's weird. This was definitely the thing that I had to think the most about. Like
I hadn't really considered that, but it is different. I had the same reaction to the point where when Super Meat Boy came out on Switch and I played so much of it on Xbox 360, like hearing that soundtrack, I was like, I can't play it like this. You know, like I had that strong of a reaction to it. Like I associate that game so much with that Danny B soundtrack that like it's actually tough for me to play the game with the new soundtrack.
Yeah, no, it genuinely, like, it changes something inherently about it. It isn't just like a taste thing. It is like, this doesn't feel like it was made for this in the same way. Yeah, it's a shame. And yeah, I think every version besides the 360 version, maybe the PC version still has the old music. I don't remember, but
I don't remember.
It came out on PlayStation. I don't know. I still had my Vita at the time. I'm like, oh yeah, so I can't wait to play this again. Like having an excuse to play this on my Vita. And yeah, I didn't realize that they had changed the soundtrack. And I'm like, oh, all right. I guess that's yeah. I think I played like 2 worlds. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm good now. I'll just play this on PC if I really want to again. Yeah, this would be an interesting thing to do, like an episode on, specifically the good game with the bad soundtrack. But then again, maybe not, because then we have to play like bad music. I guess if we were doing that. So
that's our maybe April Fool's episode or something.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's pretty good. We do have another voicemail for this section then.
All right, let's play it. This is another one from Phelan.
That's right, voicemail number 2. You didn't seriously think I'd call in and not recommend some Pokemon music, did you? Phelan here, back again. Lately, I've been playing through a lot of my old Pokemon games as part of a challenge run I've been doing. And I recently rebeat the very first Pokemon game I ever played, Pokemon Sapphire, and a childhood classic that I actually never beat back in the day, but did recently, Pokemon Colosseum. And so I'd like to share some of my favorite tracks from those games with y'all. I understand the show runs long, so just, only if you have time to play them. But I'd like to request Route 113 from Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire and the Cypher Peon battle from Pokemon Colosseum. All right, now I'm done for real this time. Thanks, guys. Until next time.
Thanks, Phelan.
We play everything unapologetically on the show. It doesn't matter. If your voicemail had pushed us to the 6-hour mark, it doesn't matter. We're playing it. Yeah, so thank you again. Also to note, I think these literally did come through like a minute apart. So he called us, hung up, and then called us right back.
Called us back. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty good. Yeah, so let's play these on the break real quick, and we'll come back and talk about them. That was Route 113 from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. That was composed by Junichi Masuda. And Cypher Peon Battle from Pokemon Colosseum. That was composed by Tsukasa Tawada. And we shall be back. And that was Route 113 from Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Cypher Peon Battle from Pokemon Coliseum. I don't have too many notes on either of these. I will say Route 113 is what I remember being my favorite route theme from Gen 3. It sounds really like sparse and weird compared to like other route themes in Pokemon games in general. If I remember correctly, this is when you're on the path to like the volcano area. So there's constantly like ash falling down, and like all the grass around you in that route has ash on it. And then when you walk through, it like shakes the grass and the ash like floats off. I don't know, like I wish Pokemon games did stuff like that more often in general. And these are like the GBA games. These games are over 20 years old, and they're doing more like cool stuff like that than like Scarlet and Violet are, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really like that. It was always, you know, I think Gen 3 got like a bad rap at the time for a few reasons, but I think time has been kind to them. So I don't know if like the wider Pokemon fan base still has bad feelings about them. I know at the time I kind of did too, but with hindsight, I think Gen 3 is actually pretty great. And it's because of stuff like this Route 113 with the volcanic ash and stuff that I like a lot about it.
Yeah, well, I know that, first of all, I know that Gen 3 is Phelan's personal favorite generation. And Phelan is, by the way, for those who don't know Phelan, the biggest Pokemon fan I've ever met. Phelan loves Pokemon, and so I'm glad that he called in and gave us some Pokemon to talk about on the show. Yeah, like this one, I have a lot of love and nostalgia for Gen 3, but it's not a generation that I've gone back to very much, like since I was a kid. Like I, you know, like again, you know, love Gen 3, but it's not the kind of thing that I just haven't gone back and revisited it too much. But I do still remember that, like, this route and like how cool that tone is and how kind of like melancholic that tone is of that route. Like this kind of like, yeah, area of the world that is just covered with like ash. And isn't there like a thing where you can like gather up the ash to like make like furniture with it or something like that? Isn't that a thing?
There's some item, and when you walk through the tall grass and you collect the ash as you're walking through. I don't remember what you do with it, but yeah, that is a mechanic in the game.
Like I remember that, and I remember there's like a woman there that, because I think when I was playing this as a kid, I thought it was like snow or something, but they specifically have, I remember there's a woman that has like an umbrella that talks about like, oh yeah, like it keeps like the ash from getting on me. And I'm like, oh, like this is ash? Like, my God, you know, like coming down from the volcano. There is something kind of like, I don't know, like creepy about it in a way. Like, I guess just kind of like quietly beautiful. Like ash raining down is, I think, such an evocative image because it is similar to snow, which is seen as like peaceful and serene, but ash implies fire, and like it's the aftermath of like destruction, you know, like there's something to that, like the juxtaposition to it. And I don't know, this song really captures that kind of melancholic feel. I don't have many notes on it other than I do love that we got something with like some good horns, like good horn use. You'll love to see it. So I was happy for that.
Well, see, and another thing that I remember people complaining about with Gen 3 at the time was that they didn't like the GBA horn MIDI sound.
Oh,
that they
I love
use. Yeah, I do too. I think it's very distinct. Like I like how trumpet focused the Gen 3 soundtracks are. I think it makes it feel very distinct. But I guess, to be fair, like when you're listening on like a tinny monotone GBA speaker, maybe it sounds worse than it does now. I'm not sure.
Sure.
But, I think people are just big babies is basically all it comes down to. And yeah, I'm like you. I haven't really, besides the remakes on 3DS, I have never really revisited Gen 3. The main memories I have of them is I got an action replay for Game Boy Advance for Christmas. And so I hacked my copy of Ruby to get like Gen 1 Pokemon in there that weren't, like the data was in there for them, but you couldn't unlock them on your own, like Charizard and stuff. See, that's the thing is I think a big reason people didn't like Ruby and Sapphire at the time was because most Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon weren't in it. It was kind of like a soft reboot of the series, as it were. So even back then, people were already mad about that, whereas I'm like, no, that's cool. I want a region that's mostly new Pokemon. Like, I don't need to always have the same ones. I mean, yeah, I like old Pokemon too. We're Monkey Knockout Gas. We're just going to talk about Pokemon for a while. Yeah, Gen 3, I think at the time people were upset, and then Gen 4 was viewed as a return to form, whereas in hindsight, I think Gen 4 sucks. And Gen 3 is like the better games by far, at least to me. When it comes to Cypher Peon Battle, I've never played Coliseum. Did you ever play Coliseum?
No, I've never played any of these. Like, I played Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, but I never played Coliseum. I never played, like, XD, Gale of Darkness, or whatever. I never played these.
Yeah, me either, and I don't know why, because this was, like, the height of my Pokemon, and I also owned a GameCube, and they weren't releasing that many games on the GameCube, so I don't know why I never got around to these. And like XD is like full on like an RPG of some sort, isn't it? Like it's not like it's just a battler like Stadium was. So yeah, I don't know why I didn't get around to this. And yeah, listening to the Cypher Peon Battle, I was like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I definitely was not expecting it to be as cool as this with those damn guitars around 36 seconds in. It was yeah. It felt like a Mega Man X song to me at times.
I could see that. No, I was just gonna my first. I don't have a lot of notes about this one, but my first note is this song really is all about that guitar, right? Like that guitar rules.
Yeah, when I was looking for YouTube comments, I saw a lot of comments calling this like the best battle theme in the series, which I don't agree with that, but it's really, really good, and I'd never heard it before. You know, I always attributed Pokemon battle themes getting real nutty with like Gen 5 specifically, but yeah, having never played or listened to Coliseum stuff, I didn't know that they were already getting kind of nutty with battle themes as far back as Gen 3, you know. I was looking up the composer's other work a little bit. Again, that's Tsukasa Tawada. He must be the composer for Genius Sonority. I can't really pronounce that very well.
That sounds familiar, Genius Sonority.
Yeah, they're the ones that made Coliseum and XD, and they've done a lot of Pokemon spin-offs since. It seemed basically all of his work post Coliseum is like all Pokemon or Harvest Moon games. So they must also be the developers of the modern Harvest Moon stuff. But yeah, it's interesting because like my wife has played a lot of that Pokemon Cafe remix or whatever on Switch, and he was the composer for that game too, and it could not sound more different. I just get the sense that like he must really like doing guitar themes, but now he's just constrained. He can't do many cool guitar themes anymore. They need to make another Coliseum game for him to be able to do cool Pokemon battle themes again, because Cafe Remix is just very just calm, like kind of, I don't want to say nothing music. It's catchy. I can hear it in my head right now, but it doesn't have like this flavor to it. You know, I feel like he's just from this one song, he seems pretty good at doing this flavor, but yeah, I don't have any other notes for it either. It was just a really good Pokemon battle theme that I'd never heard before. So thank you, Phelan, once again for sending in those requests, because I never would have heard this otherwise.
No, me either. I looked up Genius Sonority. I knew that name sounded familiar. Those are the most recent thing that they've kind of done is the Dempamen series.
Ah, okay.
And I'm like, oh yeah, like I that name just sounded very familiar to me, and I was like, I know these people from somewhere, so that makes sense. I had no idea those are the same developers at all. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, this was great. It was cool to hear, and it's nice to have that kind of like triumphant like arena style. Like this kind of feels like a step removed from like Rocky or something, you know, and it's kind of nice to have that in like the first episode of the year. It kind of feels like a good like kickoff song for the year, you know. So yeah.
Well, speaking of kickoff songs, we do have one more voicemail, and this was a doozy.
All right, let's hear from Presto.
Hey, Horn Boys. Welcome back to the first episode of 2025. I'm super excited to see how much the show grows this year, and excited to keep sending in voicemails with songs that you may or may not have heard. Today, we have 2 random songs for the episodes, and these are extra random because they're not actually from a video game. In fact, they're based on a video game. The first song we have here is Try to Keep Up by Black Griffin, which is a Sonic the Hedgehog fan song. And the second one is Misty by Nate Wants to Battle, who, after doing covers of pretty much all the Pokemon anime theme songs, decided to write his own Pokemon fan song. And this is the same person who's like sung actual music and like Sonic Frontiers for Sega, and in their like he does a lot of Sonic stuff, but he also made Pokemon stuff. And Misty is very cool, and Try to Keep Up is also very cool. So I highly recommend you go check them out. Here's to a great year of 2025, and I should probably stop driving and call it. Goodbye.
Yeah, so as always, thank you, Presto. I swear to God, if one day I have to hear an accident over the Bit Harmony voicemails, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please be safe. Please don't drive when you're calling in. But no, I do appreciate the voicemail though, Presto.
You know, I am a big fan of hands-free Bluetooth calling while driving. That's the only time I ever liked making calls I had to make. But yeah,
sure.
I was never calling in to leave video game music podcast voice.
You have so much to live for, Presto. Think about this. You're so young. You're so full of life.
He died doing what he loves, leaving voicemails for Bit Harmony.
He died as he lived, leaving voicemails for this podcast.
I guess
it's dark.
Yeah, a little bit. I guess let's not do a preamble. Let's present these songs that Presto has requested, and then we'll come back to talk about them. So that is, let me find my notes here. That is Try to Keep Up, in all caps, a Sonic song by Black Griffin and Basic, and Misty by Nate Wants to Battle. And we will be back to talk about this. I have a feeling this might be where we break down. The Monkey Knockout Cast meter is going to explode. We're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, strap in probably. Yeah.
And I'm feeling kinda crazy. I've been working, been waiting. cerulean gem just out a rocky tunnel. It was the way you laugh and the way that you swim. I knew that you'd be trouble. We made such a big splash, big crash. You'll be my tidal wave. Breaks me down like an avalanche. Then we go dance in the rain. Nasty, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gone forever. Don't tease me, my heart is freezing, 'cause you whipped up this icy weather. I'm talking in my sleep, the story won't stop me. And you feel shit cold to me. But nasty, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, gone forever. And I'll never recover. Now I knew that my chances were slim, that much is plain to see. But I found you standing with him and thought it should have been me. I had my chance and I blew it. My frozen heart tore right through it. I'm coming down like a crashing wave. Nasty, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gone forever. Don't tease me, my heart is freezing, 'cause you whipped up this icy weather. I'm talking in my sleep, the story won't stop me. And you feel shit cold to me. But nasty, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, gone forever. And I'll never recover from when you scored my heart. Shoot me up, things of ice, and then you lift me apart. Thunder wave, I can't move, I'm paralyzed around you. I got hacks and confused from the start.
Again? Great.
Nasty, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm gone forever. Don't tease me, my heart is freezing, 'cause you whipped up this icy weather. I'm talking in my sleep, the story won't stop me. And you feel shit cold to me. Nasty, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone, gone forever, and I'll never recover. Gone, gone forever, and I'll never recover. Gone, gone forever, and I'll never recover. Gone, gone forever, and I'll never recover.
And that was Try to Keep Up. I hope I said that like Sonic. It sounded
I was gonna
pretty
say,
good.
get a little Sonic flavor in there. Try to keep up. Yeah.
I used to work with a dude that he played a lot of the Sonic and Sega tennis game, and he knew I liked video games, but he only played that Sonic tennis game, and so he would always quote at me like one of the sound bites from that, and Sonic is saying like, "What's wrong? You scared?" And I was just that's what was going on in that office, was just a dude saying, "What's wrong? You scared?" at me like every other day.
Oh my god. Okay, hang on. I have a little bit of a bomb to drop. I have a little bit.
Was that you?
Something.
Is your name Josh?
Definitely me. No, I had my first ever voiceover thing. This is back in, God, I don't know, 2005 or something like that. I've always loved voiceover. Like, I've always loved it. I've always wanted to do it, and now I do it in a somewhat professional. I get paid to do voiceover stuff, so I guess it is literally a professional capacity. And I've always wanted to do it though, and so I was like kind of always on the lookout for little things to do voiceover for. On Tumblr specifically, like there was a little era there where people would go on Tumblr and make posts and like ask for people to give voice to them, or like if people would make like whatever, like a Flintstones meme or something. They'd be like, can anybody do like a Fred Flintstone impression and record it and send it in? I'll make like a little video. And that was very popular on Tumblr at a certain point. And anyway, there was a guy who was making a Sonic fan game where he wanted somebody to provide like the voice. It wasn't Sonic the Hedgehog. It was like, the classic, like my OC based in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. And he was looking for somebody to voice the main character. And I kind of like sent in something that I thought would be kind of appropriate for the character or whatever. And, you know, I'm sure I was the only person who auditioned for it. The guy who I think was just this like kid, he was like, yep, you got it and everything. And like,
I was like a 12-year-old like, you got the part, kid.
you got moxie, kid. And, but like I recorded like some of the voice lines that he sent me, and it was like, you know, terrible. Like even back then I was like, this is god awful. And, his note, he was like, he sent back this, I remember, like long, like multi-paragraph note. He's like, I really like it, but can you please like try to emulate Ryan Drummond, like the voice of Sonic? This is the one and only like reason I even know that Ryan Drummond was the voice of Sonic in Sonic Adventure is because this long email this kid sent me.
I like how you're saying kid. He was probably some like 35-year-old dude.
He had like his real like face and picture on his Tumblr, and I think, you know, and I was a teenager at the time too, I'm sure. But so I probably wasn't that much older than him, but he left me this like long-winded thing, like, you know, I should make myself sound more like Ryan Drummond, and I'm like, well, I thought this was I didn't think this was Sonic. This is like a different character from Sonic. And I remember this so well. He was like, yes, but I'm trying to make something that can one day be as big as Sonic. And so I want this to be...
So you want to sound like Sonic.
He's like, I want this to be like as big as Sonic the Hedgehog one day. And I just stopped replying to him. And I just never talked to him again.
Well, it's, you know, not to be like rude, especially to some teenager 20 years ago, but just it's funny the lack of imagination. Like, I want this to be as big as Sonic the Hedgehog, so it has to be exactly like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, well, and I remember he sent me like a little build of the game that he was making, and it was like a Flash game. Like he was making it like a Flash platformer, and it was like terrible. Like, you know, it was like all of this happened over the course of like a day. And I was just like, yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm surprised you still decided to hang out on the internet after all that happened to you. Also funny that like that problem wouldn't exist nowadays. Like if that happened like in 2015, he could have just made a Wii U Mario Maker level, you know, and then realized he's bad at it and just been done with it.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Again, I'm expecting us to talk about multiple things like that with this. Anyway, yeah, that was Try to Keep Up and Misty. So I guess I must have been familiar with the concept somewhere in my head, but I don't think I'd ever really heard any like fan-made songs inspired by video games before, or if I had heard, I didn't know it at the time or whatever. I guess I must have heard something, but either way, you know, again, to be clear, these two songs are like not my flavor at all, but that's fine because this is Presto requesting them. I have a lot of thoughts I want to get into, but more as a whole with this concept and what I think about it. But as far as Try to Keep Up specifically goes, I actually found myself appreciating this one, and I can see why these people were like approached by Paramount to potentially make songs for the movies, because I can totally see this in the movies. You know, like this actually is produced well enough, and like the lyrics make sense with Sonic without being cringeworthy and stuff. Like, I think this Try to Keep Up one is actually pretty good for what it is, like objectively. And I'll also say, when I was 15, I would have absolutely had this on my iPod Shuffle and been listening to it on the school bus every day.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly the tone of this, right? Like this, there is something nostalgic to me about these. Like there was such a moment when people were doing stuff like this. Like I remember even in the early days of like Smosh, it was all like fan songs about Zelda and like rap battles of, you know, whatever, like video game characters. There was a definite moment for that. And there is something kind of, I don't know, like weirdly comforting to me that kind of thing is still being made today, you know? And to Paramount's credit, like it's really neat the way that they are willing to tap like fans, and they have Tyson Hess like working closely like as a producer on these movies now, and he very clearly like does tap into like the fan community to give input and work on these big budget movies. That part of what I love so much about them actually is that they do that. And, frankly, I wish they would do stuff like that with Nintendo's movies. I would love to see more like fan input in it. They even had, I saw a YouTuber who's like a 3D model, like animator who makes like, N64 Dreamcast looking like 3D art. And they commissioned him to make like the end credit sequence of Sonic 3. Which all kind of looks like, Dreamcast style graphics. And like, yeah, he made that. I was like a fan. And yeah, it's really cool. And this does feel right in line with something that you would hear in the movie. And I think that's only to the song's credit. These guys, I know them, they're brothers, Black Griffin and Basic. And the only reason I know them, and I was telling you this, is that Black Griffin is the original singing voice of Alistair from the Has Been Hotel pilot. And he was recast for the actual show when it got picked up and like turned into a proper show, as was basically all of the cast. They essentially replaced the cast from the original pilot, which was kind of like a fan made animation, kind of like indie animation thing. They wanted to replace the voice cast with like Broadway musical people, and so they ended up doing that. But he did an original song for Alistair called "Insane," which is really like probably more popular than any of the music in the actual show, to the point where "Insane" is in Fortnite.
What? That's insane.
I mean, yeah, it is. The song that he made about the character that he voiced and was recast as is in Fortnite. Because it was a big like TikTok sound for a while and stuff. And yeah, so it's pretty cool that he's managed to kind of like carve his own path. And there's a contingent of Has Been Hotel fans that like hope that they work Insane into like the main show in some way. I don't personally want that. I don't think it really fits Alistair's tone in the show. Alistair in the pilot and Alistair in the show, and Amir Talai's voice of Alistair in the proper show, it's very, very different. But it would still be, it's still cool the way they kind of like this stuff kind of permeates, and to see like these fan-made creations kind of get legitimized in some way.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially when it comes to Sonic, because again, Sonic Mania, the best received Sonic game in decades, was, that is an official product, obviously, but Sega approached fans that made fan games to make it for them, so like, it's cool that Sonic in particular has such a history with collaborating with its own fan base to make cool stuff. That's really, really special to me, and I think that is the best and most like worthwhile thing that has ever come out of Sonic. Again, not Mania specifically, but just like the relationship with its own fan base, and also the Sonic was it the Sonic Murder Mystery game that was also a fan made thing that got turned into an official thing.
It's great too. It's like genuinely really good.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love stuff like that. I think that's so fascinating. And yeah, like I said, like no shade, even though this isn't my kind of thing now, I would have loved this like 15, 20 years ago. I guess more like 20 years ago at this point, this Try to Keep Up song. I will say with Misty, this one was a bit much for me, but to be clear, I do think the production work is good. It is very solid. And kind of like what you said, I appreciate knowing that young people still listen to stuff like this, because again, 20 years ago, I probably would have also listened to this. I wouldn't have liked it as much as the Sonic one, but I probably would have been into it. I mostly just can't handle the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I think if you remove the Pokemon connections from it, or like if I heard this without knowing what Pokemon was or whatever, I would maybe be able to get over it. But there's just something about some of these lines, man. The one that I wrote down was, I got haxed and confused from the start. I wanted to shrivel up into a ball and just cry. But again, it's harmless. It's not like I'm not trying to throw shade at it too much. I get how from like a songwriting perspective that this would be a fun exercise kind of thing. It isn't something that I would want to listen to on my own kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I do have like a soft spot in my heart for this kind of like early 2000s like emo pop punk kind of sound. Like I do have a soft spot in my heart for that. It is a little too like Bowling for Soup for my taste. You know, like it goes a little bit there. And I also just kind of instantly like cringe when we're talking about like love songs about video game characters. It just kind of feels weird, man. Like I get it.
This song is only like 9 years old. Who cares about Misty anymore? Like, it was using the music video was using like the GBA sprites, but like, does anyone listening to this 9 years ago, do they even really care about who Misty? I mean, maybe, I guess there must be some people, but yeah, that's kind of where the line was crossed. I guess if there's a line to be crossed, yeah, it was because it's about Misty, not just that it's a love song, but because it's like, it feels like it was like 15, 20 years past the point where that was relevant, I guess.
It's weird. It's a weird vibe, and it admittedly, right, it does feel different when like you and I in our mid 30s are listening to it as opposed to like a teenager listening to it, right? So like that's a very different vibe, but like I just can't help but kind of cringe at that. And it reminded me of, do you remember on G4 there was a Kevin Pereira like did a music video for this song called The Girl at the Video Game Store? Did you ever see that?
That sounds familiar, yeah.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Olivia Munn was like the star of it, and she played like, you know, whatever, the hot girl that works at the video game store. And you know, like I remember like one of the lines is like, she's smart and she's sweet and she knows all of the cheats. It's the worst. It's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. It's so bad. I think the next line is, her thumbs are lightning fast. At Tekken, she'll kick your ass. It reminds me of stuff like that.
Yeah,
is the reason I bring that up. That being said, I will say, and I know that we've just been like roasting this song that Presto sent in for the past several minutes. I will say the line, "This story won't star me," is admittedly a pretty clever line. I did like that.
Yeah, as far as like, if you're gonna do Pokemon puns, I appreciate like doing Pokemon name puns more than like, I was paralyzed, Thunderwave, whatever. Like I don't like that, but like. That it's like I don't know, it's too heady. Maybe that's the wrong word, but like it's like you thought too hard about this. You tried to fit in too many puns and Pokemon things in here. But like, yeah, that Starmie is the name of a Pokemon. That I can appreciate.
It was cute. And, I liked that line. Yeah.
You know, okay. I have thoughts about this entire concept. And again, I'm trying to make it clear, I'm not trying to dog on the song too much. It just, yeah, as a 35-year-old man, it's just not what I listen to. But I also think back to when I was 10 or so, around that age, when Pokemon the first movie had just come out on DVD, and I watched that thing over and over and over again. And part of the reason I watched it over and over and over again was because I loved that opening battle between Ash and that random dude with the Donphan. That was the first time I ever saw Donphan. And like, they have, you know, a rearrangement of the show's opening theme, right? And it's like kind of more like dramatic, and there's like a more like higher production value electric guitar stuff going on. I loved watching that. You know, in an era before YouTube, that was my YouTube. I just kept rewinding the DVD back to that scene, right? And my uncle, who I was very, very close to at the time, like, he taught me how to ride my bike and stuff. He was not that much older than me. Like, he's 14 years older than me. We were very close, and he was always like very, like, he took an interest in the things I was interested in. I think part of that was because of the fact that we weren't that far off in age, kind of thing. But that all said, I remember he came over one time, and I was watching, I had that scene on in the background, and he was he pulled a, you know, like, this is your favorite song to me, like, in a very, very, very like judgmental way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, even at the time, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm 10. Like, I don't know. What do you want from me? But
right.
Like, I was a very, very sensitive kid. I think I'm even now, I'm more of a sensitive person than probably I let on. And that's probably just like a self-preservation thing. But, my feelings were hurt a little bit about that, but not only because of the line of questioning and the tone of it, but also because he was close to me. Like, he knew I was a sensitive kid. So then to have him present that to me as a, oh, you like this? Like art, like it was like doubly hurtful to me. Right. So I want to clarify that I don't want to be that for anyone, even just a random person listening that heard this song and thinks it's really cool, and you hear us laughing about it. It's mostly just the fact that I'm hearing this for the first time as a 35-year-old man. That's what I'm mostly laughing about.
Right.
If this is what you're into, please, like, just do it. Just be you. Go listen to this. I think that's great. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah.
No, I'm glad you said that. Co-signed, obviously, completely. And I want to stress too that, like, and I told you this privately too. Like, one of the things that I love so much about Presto is that, like, he reminds me so much of myself, like when I was his age. And I really like it whenever he sends in something like that. Like, this is exactly when I was his age, I would have completely been into this sort of stuff, you know, like totally. And there's a part of me that does still find like a tether to it. Like, he and I have a shared love of stuff like Has Been Hotel. And one of the things that I love about Has Been Hotel is it does, you know, a lot of people get annoyed by it, but like it is very like Tumblr coded. And to me, I find that charming and like nostalgic, and other people find it annoying. So I get it. I'm, you know, I've been on the other side of that too. And, I get it, but it is just kind of like, yeah, fun from the lens of a, you know, a perspective of an older person. It is kind of funny to hear stuff like this.
I did, like, literally, I think yesterday or the day before, I saw this post on Blue Sky. I think it was in relation to like everything happening with like politically and specifically like with trans people and like people, older people not understanding. But I genuinely think this is one of the more, I found this to be beautiful. So I'm going to read this off real quick. This Blue Sky post, or skeet as it were.
I hate that so much when people call it that.
Well, maybe this post maybe this skeet will be relevant to you too. And when you understand why people are calling it skeet.
Jesus.
You only become old the very moment you decide that you care more about farming social validation from people your age, complaining about younger people more than you do about understanding the things people younger than you are doing. And I think that is a very beautiful, to me at least, way of looking at it of, I'm getting older and my tastes have changed, and that's just natural. But like, yeah, I never want to just outright dismiss things that like a younger person is into or sending me. Again, there are some things that I think are stupid, but at the same time, some of that is just, you're young and you're going to like skibbity toilet or whatever, you know, like that's just how it is. But yeah, I never want to just at face value, just dismiss something entirely. And I thought that was a nice way that skeet put it.
Yeah, a beautifully put skeet, for sure. I did have one thing that I wanted to make sure to bring up in relation to this whole concept of like kind of in-universe like fan songs or whatever, because I think this is an interesting story that that feels very in line with what we do here at Bit Harmony. I wanted to make sure to bring this up because it was the first thing I thought of when Presto first, even before he sent in the voicemail, he was talking about it in the Discord, and immediately a song came to mind, and we can't really play it on the show unless, you know, like it's kind of profane a little bit. Like the song is called like Space A-hole, I guess, you know, but it's not, you know, censored. And so that word is just played over and over again. So we probably shouldn't just play it on the show. But with that being said, that song came to mind immediately. It's by Chris Remo, who would go on to compose for like Firewatch and Gone Home and stuff like this. Chris Remo, before all of that, was one of the hosts of Idle Thumbs, which I'm sure I've talked about on the show before. It's my favorite podcast of all time. I miss it all the time. I loved Idle Thumbs. It was the show that in many ways like got me into podcasts and got me into podcasting myself. I owe Idle Thumbs a lot. And when Red Faction Guerrilla came out, this was in, I don't know, 2008 or 9 or something like that. They were talking about it on the show and covering it on the show. And Chris would, every now and then as a musician, he would get like the inspiration to like write silly little songs like about the game that he was playing at the time. And this was one of them. And Red Faction Guerrilla, for those who don't know, is like basically like it's set up like a third person kind of like, you know, space colonist like simulator sort of thing. But actually you can just destroy everything, and it has still one of the coolest, most like impressive destructibility in games, and it's very like emergent and player driven, and you can just like blow up everything and just like terraform like the land and stuff, and it's just like crazy and fun, and like it really is fun to just like turn your brain off and just like blow stuff up in that game and see the way that the Jenga towers can fall. And anyway, he wrote a song. This song, Space A-Hole, is from the perspective of a colonist who is just trying to survive when this dude is blowing everything up, your player character. And the funny thing about it is the song got so much popularity from the podcast that when it came time for them to remaster the game with Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered, which is still one of the worst titles in modern memory.
It's pretty bad.
The trailer, when they announced that game, used this song, this like this in-universe fan song, and in Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered, you can even hear it, like I think in like one of there's like a spot in game where they have it playing on like an in-game radio. So like this fan song from this podcast became canon in like a funny and strange way. And I always was very charmed by that. Just the ways that like Idle Thumb stuff kind of wormed its way into other things. There's a lot of references to Idle Thumbs and Firewatch. Firewatch is basically just an Idle Thumbs video game. And like, unless you were a diehard fan of Idle Thumbs, you would never know that to play it. Every like book and board game and pamphlet, it's just, that thing is chock full of Idle Thumbs Easter eggs. And it's always cool to me to see that kind of thing like work its way into pop culture, like this podcast that was very like significant to me. And it forced him to actually like go into a studio and make it like a real song with like production, because it was initially just him with like an acoustic guitar. So, you know, he had to actually like produce it and make it something real. And anyway, that was like the first thing that came to mind when Presto was talking about this just notion of like an in-universe fan song becoming actually in-universe.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty cool sequence of events. I didn't know that they used that in the, like, you sent me the song the other day, but yeah, I didn't realize that they used it in the trailer for Remastered. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Is Remastered's on Switch, right?
It is, yeah. This whole, it got me to re-download it on my Switch, and it goes on sale all the time. That game is super fun.
Yeah, I think I've seen it for like $5 on the eShop at times, and I've never played it, but yeah, sounds like it'd be just like a good goof around time waster kind of thing. So I might have to add that to the wish list. With that said, do you want to get into the YouTube comment oversharing corner?
Let's do it.
This is the section of the show where we read off any funny, memorable, interesting, or downright insane comments we've stumbled across while grabbing songs for this episode, or in this case, most of these were just delivered to us by the voicemails. We kind of kept it lean. You know, that was kind of the theme of the episode. We are running a little longer than I was expecting, but when I say that, it's not too bad this time. It's not too bad. So yeah, we each brought 2 to this one. So I'll read off this first one of mine. This is from YouTube user Cuckoo in a Bottle. That's like the cuckoo or whatever from Zelda. The chickens from Zelda. Yeah. And their YouTube avatar was indeed a cuckoo in a glass bottle, which I thought was pretty cute. They commented on Braving Tall Heights 12 years ago. Wow. And then like 12 dots. And then says, did I just hear what it means to be on a quest? No question mark, period. And then no words, which, yeah, there's not much for me to say there. I just thought it was a really dumb comment. Did I just hear what it means to be on a quest? Like, it's very like Fedora, like, well, hello, madame, kind of thing. Like, did I just hear what it means to be on a quest? Kind of energy.
Ah, my lady, did I just hear what it means to be on a quest?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I loved like dumb comments like that. Like just to like, you don't even know really what it means. They just are saying something for the sake of saying it.
Right. And that definitely felt more popular, 12 years ago than it does now, where everyone talks about their dead grandmas.
Right. Well, let me bring you more into the modern day with YouTube user, I guess this is Alexan the Man, who commented on Route 113 or 113 5 months ago. This remote route felt like a portal to another dimension, one that happens to contain Metal Bird. I've always loved that distant tone the music for this one had, referring, I guess, to Skarmory found on Route 113.
You know what? Until seeing this comment in the notes, I didn't remember, but yeah, Skarmory is totally on that route, and I remember catching a Skarmory on that route. Yep. They're right.
Happens to contain Metal Bird. Which I was unsure if like this person like if they were not a native English speaker, or if they were just trying to go for like the sort of like ICANN has, you know, kind of like vernacular, you know what I mean? Like that kind of like, it happens to contain Metal Bird, you know, like trying to be kind of cutesy about it. I don't know what they were going for.
Yeah, that's my read on it. Where the purposely kind of broken language a little bit is just on purpose. But yeah,
right.
Yeah, I like that. It happens to contain Metal Bird. It's pretty good. This is my comment of the episode. I think this is one of the most insane comments we've featured on this entire show. This is YouTube user Lost Picasso 260 commented on Move Me 2 months ago. This feels like the musical version of speedballing, hyped up and chilled out at the same time. This is just distasteful.
This is vulgar.
The fact that I've chosen to feature it here, it probably speaks to my immorality, I guess. But I mean, yeah, a speedball, if you don't know, is usually like when you combine like an upper and a downer. Specifically, when I looked it up on Wikipedia, is like cocaine and like ketamine is what people were talking about. Which, again, I've never taken any of these drugs. What I've heard about ketamine, the idea that you want to combine that with something else sounds insane to me. And then the idea that Lost Picasso has experience with speedballing and then commented on it on a Move Me. You know, okay, I'll say this real quick. What actually inspired this feature of the show, the YouTube comment oversharing corner, is because a couple years ago, I was looking at YouTube comments for Steal My Sunshine, you know, that Len song.
Oh, yeah.
And someone in the YouTube comments was talking about how it brought them back in time to their younger days, where they were selling like crack out of like a Jeep.
Oh my god.
And I think that is the craziest YouTube comment I've still seen to this day. And so this comment, I couldn't not have it in here, as distasteful as I think it is. Again, not trying to laugh at the fact that many people die of fentanyl and other things that is loosely related to speed, not loosely, but related to speedballing. But the idea that someone had the audacity to say that in a comment section for a Ridge Racer song is so insane to me that I just had to throw it in.
That's wild. Lost Picasso, just a nasty little guy, aren't you? just a nasty, weird little dude, huh?
Also, I get the sense from how many like deaths happen from speedballing that hyped up and chilled out at the same time is not what happens when you're doing this, but I don't know.
Oh, that's wild, dude. Yeah, well, I'll bring us down a little bit from speedballing with YouTube user The Awesome-O commented on Try to Keep Up 1 month ago. I like playing this audio over the Team Sonic race clip from Paramount starting at the 35-second mark. Now, this is already kind of a funny comment for me, like, you know, like the idea of like, hey, presumably I'm telling people this because I want them to seek out this clip from Paramount and like go to the timestamp that I provided and try doing this thing that I like to do. I already find that kind of funny and charming. However, I did it and it doesn't work at all. It doesn't like the 35-second timestamp. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna play the song at the timestamp that he's talking about. And like it's like at least like 10 to 15 seconds of characters like talking, so like it doesn't mesh whatsoever. and then yeah, once the, you know, because the context of the scene is like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles are racing, doing a foot race. So like, yeah, it fits with that, but like it fits with that in the same way that it fits with the general vibe of Sonic at all. You know? So I found it very funny that this person would like comment like, hey, everybody, you should try this, and then it just falling flat on its face.
I also love the idea of like, you know, is it Dark Side of the Moon synced up with Wizard of Oz? That's supposed to be like the thing, right?
Right.
Like and if you're too young to understand what I'm saying, that they're like, supposedly if you start listening to Dark Side of the Moon like right at like the lion roar or whatever in Wizard of Oz, that like the album is supposed to match what's happening in the movie. I've never watched it. I'm not like a 70-year-old stoner. I don't really care. But like my dad back then, he talked about that. He's like, yeah, man, if you sync, I'm like, okay, dude, again, I'm 10, but you sound like a conspiracy theorist. Like, yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe it just matches up, or maybe it is on purpose. But either way, you're acting like it's some kind of like dark, like eldritch secret that you stumbled onto. Yeah. I like the idea of that, but for a Sonic movie clip with a Sonic fan-made song.
There's a podcast. There's an old McElroy Brothers podcast. I don't think they do it anymore, but they did it for many years, called "Till Death Do Us Blart," where every year around Thanksgiving they would rewatch Paul Blart Mall Cop, and like the idea was that it's like this curse thing that like every year they were forced to rewatch it and like talk about it on this podcast. It was like the tonality of it was like in 30 years we have to come back and kill this clown, you know, sort of thing. Yeah. And so they did it every year for, I don't know, like 9 or 10 years or something like that. And I remember one year there would always be some new twist on it. And I remember one year Griffin did that, where he's like, yeah, I think it was completely intentional. If you watch this while synced up to Dark Side of the Moon, this is very obviously intentional. It was a funny bit that he kept going for that year's episode. Yeah, it was good.
No, that's pretty good. That has been the YouTube comment oversharing corner for this episode. I realized that we also didn't mention that you can contact us by phone number and blah. We'll get to that in a second, but I just realized we forgot about that. But Seth, do you want to take over the general Patreon shout out stuff?
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so big thanks to everybody who supports us on Patreon. That, of course, is a great way to support the show. Gets you early access to the show for just $1 a month. You get early access to the Koopa Cast, some exclusive content on there, a bunch of little perks for supporting the show on Patreon. That really is the best way to support the show. If you like what we do here and you want to support us monetarily, we really appreciate it. You can join the Discord for free to sound off on show topics, join the community, and chat with other people. That's free, friendly, and welcoming. We appreciate y'all for doing that. And yeah, let's thank our patrons. Bit Harmony is made possible by viewers like you. Thank you. Starting with our Triforce tier supporters, thank you to Bowza, Dan and Luma, Danielina Hosa, Foolish Fuji, John Cummins, Josh Vaughn, Ligerwoods330, The Don Rob, and of course Uncle Randy. And thank you to our Golden Banana tier supporters like Big Dogs Only, Bill Tucker, SAZ, Gamer Jason, Liam D, Marcus O'Neill, Phelan Ward, Rob Yapel, Shy Guy, thank you Shy Guy, Sean Ashton, and Sparky. Thank you all very much for your support. We got, of course, links to all of that stuff in the show notes, and we appreciate y'all for checking it out and see what all the fuss is about. There's also a 7-day free trial to the Golden Banana tier if you want to try it on for size for free for 7 days. You can do that too. We appreciate you for doing it.
Yeah, big thanks all around to anyone still sticking with us after this insane episode that somehow was more Monkey Knockout Gas related than I ever thought was possible. Our next episode is on February 9th. That's going to be on Spelunky and Spelunky 2. We're just going to cover both of them at the same time. For a little bit, I was thinking just Spelunky, but then Seth was like, yeah, I think we should cover Spelunky 2. And then the more I thought about it, I think it's good to cover both of them in the same episode. I kind of wanted to really quick use this space to talk a little bit, since this is the first episode of the year. And this is, ostensibly it's supposed to be kind of like the start of the second season of this show. Kind of want to talk about a little bit about what I want out of the future of the show. Maybe that's too strong. What I would like for the future of the show. We've mentioned it multiple times. We are trying to make shorter episodes, at least here and there. Again, this episode's a little bit longer than expected, but I think it's still within reason of what I was wanting it to be. Again, we will still do 4-hour episodes. I don't want them to be as frequent, and I just think it's a barrier to entry for a lot of people. You know, I know the people.
It definitely is.
I know the people that like this show want 4-hour episodes, and I like listening back to the 4-hour episodes also. But it just it's a barrier to entry, and frankly, it's a lot of work to do it consistently. So again, I still want to do 4-hour episodes here and there, just like a couple times per season, as opposed to like half of the times per season.
As opposed to becoming the standard. Yeah, we don't want it to like, we don't want Bit Harmony to be known as like that really long show where like, you know, every time there's a new episode, get ready to clear out your month to, you know, to listen to it. And I do think it's a barrier to entry. And I mean, for me, I personally really enjoy consuming long form content as well, but the reality is that myself, you, other people who like that, we are in the minority. And I do think that a lot of people see like a 4.5 hour long episode of a podcast, and there's no way I'm even starting that.
Right.
You know? So I think it'll be helpful. And it's the kind of thing too, where like it's, I don't know, it kind of helps you miss something or appreciate it more if there's like less of it, you know, where it's not like so indulgent all the time. And again, we never set out to make a 4-hour thing.
Right.
Just like we don't plan to sit here. We both kind of probably didn't expect this episode to go as long as it has. But so, you know, it's always unintentional, and I'm sure we're still going to slip here and there. But it is nice to like kind of have a mission statement and have like a little bit of intentionality behind what you're doing.
Right. And having said all that, I'm not trying to remove content from all of y'all. In fact, quite the opposite. Again, nothing to specifically announce today, but we've been talking for at least a couple months about doing Patreon exclusive Bit Harm mini episodes here and there. Again, we're way too early. We haven't really sat down with this yet. This is something that'd be months down the line anyway if we end up doing it. I want to do it, but yeah, it's going to come down to we have to really sit down and figure stuff out. But I think like maybe hour-long extra episodes like every month or two, I think that would be pretty fun. My thing is, I never want to take something away. You know, we're at such a smaller scale when it comes to like the Patreon stuff that like I think it would be foolish to full on make this show Patreon exclusive, or like some full on normal episodes Patreon exclusive. That feels bad to me, and I'm sure it would feel bad to people listening, but it would be nice if more people subscribed to the Patreon. So if we can manage to put out more Bit Harmony stuff that I know people already like that is behind a paywall, I don't feel bad about that, as long as it is extra and not we're taking things away, is how I feel about it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Patreon has some exclusive content already. Like I do a weekly kind of AMA show called the $2 Hero Cast, which has been a lot of fun, and people seem to enjoy that. There's also like All In Side Quest, which is like a like a non-Tendo show, but that's pretty inconsistent. It used to be like a weekly show that I did with Eirik, who used to be part of the All In team, and he stepped away last year, and so it kind of became pretty inconsistent. Now it's about like maybe once a month or so that comes out. So it would be kind of nice to have like an exclusive Bit Harmony component to the like suite of exclusive content to the Patreon to kind of like provide more value to people who choose to support us over there, and maybe encourage more people to support us over there, because it helps, you know, like the monetary support helps and means a lot, and it, you know, feeds into like content that we make for this stuff too. Like it you know, pays for games to be covered and all kinds of things. So yeah, that stuff's appreciated, and it's nice to be able to reward that with exclusive content.
And speaking of that, I do want to talk about just a few episodes that I would like to cover this year, in this year of Bit Harmony. One of those is Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, which I already bought it, and that was with Patreon money. So that to give you to underline that thought, like, yeah, we want to make more stuff that we don't even own yet, and that it would be cool to use actual Patreon money for that. So I did pick that up on sale when it was on sale for like Christmas or something. And yeah, I just want an excuse to revisit Final Fantasy VI. I had only played it once. That was in 2020. So obviously that was like a weird time to be playing.
Sure.
Weird time to be alive in general at the time. So I want to see what I think about it now. Also, the Final Fantasy V Pixel Remaster soundtrack was so damn good. I'm genuinely excited to hear what 6 Pixel Remaster sounds like.
Yeah, I would love to revisit that game. I love that game.
Yeah, exactly. Like Seth and I have very different thoughts on that game, so it'll be fun to kind of like come together and like analyze it in 2025, you know, with a new version of the soundtrack to go along with it. You know, I think that sounds pretty fun to me. That's kind of like the highlight. That would maybe even be like that. Maybe that would even be like a big deal event, like Christmas episode. I don't know. Other games I had written down that I would like to cover this year, Hypnospace Outlaw. We've been talking about this since the beginning. Feels like we're getting close to it being the time. Just it's a game that Seth and I both love a lot, and it would incite a lot of the kind of conversation that I think people like hearing out of us,
right?
As well as being able to introduce people to a cool game that I think more people could check out that they haven't yet. Also, throwing out there, Kirby and the Forgotten Land and the original GameCube Animal Crossing. Those are just 2 Nintendo related things that I really, really want to cover soon, actually. But maybe with Kirby, I'll wait till maybe we get a Kirby announcement sometime this year.
Yeah, that seems like it's poised to happen, right? That's the thing. Like, there are so many things that we could do with this show. Like, this is even just like a small sampling of like some of the stuff that we're like talking about and fairly committed to, you know. And yeah, like I like the idea of all of these, and I'm excited about the way that some of this, it's really about like finding the right timing for a lot of this stuff and finding out when it makes the most sense. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see like kind of where we're gonna go. And I mean even like next time we come together for Spelunky, like you and I both love Spelunky so much. I have a lot of great little personal stories about Spelunky. Like, yeah, feels good to be back in the saddle.
Yeah, it genuinely does. Like what you said earlier about like distance making the heart grow fonder. Not that I was tired of making Bit Harmony, but yeah, it turned out that break was really nice. It turns out not having to produce one of these even for just a couple weeks was it reignited my enthusiasm to do more stuff. And you know, that last episode was like the most produced on the back end show that we've yet done, and this feels like it's going to be the least produced maybe. So that's a nice contrast too. I do want to note real quick, voicemails, if you want to get those in, you can either email us at bitharmonypod@gmail.com. You can also just send in an email if you want, the old text, the old school email, I guess. Otherwise, you can also just call us by dialing 216-230-8540. That number again is 216-230-8540. These things are always in the show notes as well. So again, don't be like Presto. Don't be looking through the Bit Harmony. Don't try calling us on a drive or trying to note our phone number on the drive. Yeah. Yeah. Just wait till you're home and call us / look up what the number is if you don't know it already. I assume Presto has us on speed dial. Maybe that's how he was able to call.
He has us in his contact. He said Siri. He's like, Siri called Bit Harmony, and that did it.
Otherwise, yeah, we're not doing a haiku this episode. Was there anything you wanted to add before we get out of here, Seth?
No, just look, yeah, welcome to season 2, I guess, and call in with your Spelunky stuff, because I actually don't know like what the temperature is in the community for Spelunky love. Like, I've not heard too many people chat about Spelunky. I know that there are a couple of specific people in the community that love Spelunky, and I might just like kind of privately nudge them and say, hey, we're doing Spelunky if you want to like chime in with something. I might also try to get some kind of something from my wife. Spelunky's her favorite game of all time. Like the Spelunky 1, between my wife and I, we played it. This is before she had her own PSN account. We'll get into this when we talk about it, but like we put like 1,500 hours into Spelunky 1 alone. So there's going to be so much to talk about. I'm really excited for the next episode. So get your voicemails in while you can.
Yeah, like if you don't know what Spelunky is, even the name might sound like cutesy and like whatever, but like Spelunky was like life changing to me. It changed how I like view video games. So this will be a pretty big one. It'll be a pretty fun one. And neither of the game's soundtracks are that huge, so we should be able to pretty cover both of them in one episode pretty thoroughly, I think. At least everything we want to get through. So yeah, that is on the next episode of Bit Harmony, Spelunky 1 and 2. Taking you out this episode is the select screen from Star Fox 64 that was composed by Koji Kondo and Hajime Wakai. Again, no real reason for this. I just thought this is like a nice chill ending theme for a weirdly Nintendo specific episode on accident. That said, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Monkey knockout gas. Now that's the kind of grounded, sensible thinking I want to see this year.